here bashing it because I don't like gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand?
Research contains an inherent
Diana,
bias
Princess of
that
Wales,
results
has been
roughly half
killed
of
in
all
a car
clinical trial
accident.
findings going unpublished.
Her partner,
Of trials resulting in
Jodie
positive
Fire,
correlations,
also being
73%
They
are
were
published.
being
For those
pursued
with
by
negative or
paparazzi
neutral findings,
on two
only
motorcycles.
41%.
Good evening, everybody. How are you three? Are you good?
We are good.
Very well.
You good? Well, it's been a little longer than we thought. It's been a little longer than we hoped.
We're a little late.
Fashionably late.
It's been
We're 8
fashionably late.
minutes And 1 week late.
Yeah.
Oh, Papa, hey.
We're 1 week and 8 minutes late. Hey, Papas, guys. How you all doing?
Jeez. Hey, everyone. Fuck. How's it going?
So, guys, we had a bit of a heavy one last time, right? It was pretty heavy. We had
It was a little bit heavy.
there was a lot going on. There was a lot of stress in the community. But this week we're going to be a little bit different. This week we're going to chat a little bit saucy conspiracy theories. Okay? So, all right, guys, what we've done is each of us have picked a conspiracy theory. Okay? Some more mainstream. Some not so mainstream. And we're going to talk about them, and we're going to see what you guys think, and we're going to get your feedback, and we're going to, there's Toasty looking gorgeous. And we're going to get your feedback, and we're going to listen to you guys and see what some of your top conspiracy theories are, and we're going to have a little discussion about them. All right, guys?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sounds
So we're going to kick
Sounds
off,
Yeah.
okay, with a little understood thing, but a very widely used thing in the transistor. Now, stick with us, guys. Stick with us, right? Because it will involve aliens at some point. I've been assured. Okay, I've been promised that this includes aliens.
The cool shit is to come.
So
Cool shit is to come. Wow.
over to McLeod. Tell us about transistors and the conspiracy theory surrounding that, my friend.
I'm not going to start there. I'm not going to start. I'm going to set the scene for you guys because I know the imagination of some of you guys. And so I want you to imagine it's fucking 2020 right now. Okay?
I can do that.
And you're watching. Yeah, you're watching the affiliate show. Or in fact, you're producing the affiliate show. Some of you are watching it.
I can't
And you're
do that.
using a computer right now, using the internet. Now, some might say the biggest thing to happen, Tim Berners-Lee, 89, making the World Wide Web. Some might say 1969, ARPANET. Funny thing, the first message ever sent over network was low because they tried to say login and then it crashed. But there we are.
Is that true?
No, wait. Is that true? I didn't know that.
That's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. That's what happened with ARPANET in 69.
Sounds
yeah.
like shite.
Here comes
That's
Saru.
McLeod.
That's not even the conspiracy
all right,
theory yet.
crack on. Yeah.
Okay.
McLeod.
I challenge your
McLeod.
theory,
Yeah.
McLeod.
Yeah.
I want to be focused in, but you are bright orange, my love. What's going
You
on?
are. You're like the sun.
It's-
There's
you're-
like the
you're-
sun.
it's like-
I didn't want to say anything.
It's like-
but is it because it's the sun setting?
It's like Donald Trump's put his fly down.
There you go.
It's
There you
like
go,
Donald Trump's
beautiful,
put his
beautiful.
fly down, and that just ginger bush is just erupting and glowing over the entire internet right now.
Shining through.
Okay.
Much better.
Wow. Is that better? We're happy with that? Okay.
That's
okay.
beautiful. Sorry, I wanted to concentrate. Go.
But I would say that the biggest contributing factor to the computer age, the thing in fact that kicked off the computer age, is the transistor. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give you a lecture on what a transistor is, mainly because I don't have a fucking clue.
Good start.
But it's a great start. It's a great start. But that's not important. How one works, it's like fucking power goes in and like more power comes out than went in, and it makes decisions and shit. It's not important. The thing that I think shows how important it is, if anyone's heard about Moore's law, it talks about the fact that transistors on a computer die will double every 2 years, or to make it even more.
Is that a sex thing?
poignant.
Is that?
No, it's not a
Oh, right,
sex
okay.
thing.
It sounds like, you know.
Why, McLeod? Why is it not a sex?
Every
Wow.
2 years.
It's not a sex thing.
Right. Okay.
Every 2 years, it will double on a die. It's not quite held true, but it held true for about 30 years. Actually, that might be bullshit. Fact check me. But if anyone at the minute is running a Ryzen 3700, I can tell you've got 3,800 million transistors sitting on your CPU right now. They're fucking important. All right, they make everything we're doing right now important.
Hang on, I will count them.
You will count. Okay, wait. Don't worry.
3,800
Don't worry about
million to do.
sorry. You go have a quick count. So,
Anyone.
Thank you, Square.
here's my position to you. We did not invent the transistor. I don't believe that we did, and I think it was aliens. And let me pull you through. Let me
Wait,
let me
what?
cut you in.
Let me
Right, we jumped to aliens real quick. Right, go.
pull the wall off my eyes, McLeod.
was
Pull it off.
fucking right there.
Who was it?
Okay?
The lizard men.
I'm
Was it the lizard men?
What I'm saying, I'm not saying right now that you've got a fucking glowing green PC next to you made by aliens. That's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Well, it was glowing orange a minute ago. Right in your face.
Yeah.
But the development prior to that, all fucking, what's happened since, and this is a very important year, 1947. What's happened since then has all been human development. But I think the discovery of the transistor is an alien thing. Okay? So for those of you who aren't so, worldly as me, I'll just give you the red version. What the Scrubs think happened, okay? So there's a chap, right, called William Shockley, all right? And he works in Bell Laboratories. Yeah, he works in Bell Laboratories. Bill Shockers.
Like Bell Shocker.
And what's important about Bell Laboratories is it's basically AT&T. Okay, it's kind of confusing. There's some law stuff that makes it kind of not AT&T, but it's basically AT&T. Okay, and in December of 1947, Bill Shockley accidentally invents a transistor, and in fact, he invents something called a point contact type. All right, and then decides,
following you.
That's not what I'm looking for. And he keeps it quiet.
Cunt.
And then a year later, he then invents a different transistor, a junction field effect transistor. Okay?
Right.
Have I still got you guys?
No, carry on.
Right? No? Okay.
He wanted to get one
It
thing.
may become clearer.
He wanted to invent one thing, but he didn't.
That's the
engaged,
thing.
go.
That's the thing. Okay. So
Thank you,
here's the thing.
Saruk.
Got you. 5 head.
Okay, I will come back to that. There is a reason I've sort of touched on that there.
Okay.
And then basically Bell Laboratories announce it. No one's really bothered because what the fuck's a transistor? And then it goes on for a couple of years. It gets to about 1952. Then they fucking call the marketing department and we've got these fucking world revolutionary things here. Shouldn't we do something with them? And they sort of send out a press release or some shit. And can you tell how well I fact check this? But yeah. So transistors are released to the world. Everyone thinks they're a great idea. Commodore 64, the rest history, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Let me juxtapose that invention in December 1947 with something else, okay? Mid-June 1947 is the supposed happening of the Roswell incident.
Famous.
Ooh, I heard of that.
Yeah, Simon Pegg found an alien.
I touched upon one.
Yes. I found
Yeah.
alien.
Paul.
Yeah,
So,
his name
yeah,
is
it's
Paul.
That was about Paul, wasn't it?
Are you trying to tell me Paul invented computers?
Invented.
I'm about to tell you that's bullshit.
That stoner alien
Maybe
invented
false.
PCs.
All right, I'm going to need another sip of beer for this one, all right?
Right. Wait, guys, he's going to tell us why Simon Pegg and Paul and that fat guy that's always with Simon Pegg invented computers. Hit me.
I'm listening.
Where the crux of this argument come from is William Shockley
Bill
was
Shock.
basically considered, Bill Shockley was considered an idiot. Okay? Without the ability
Not yet, Callum.
to invent.
Sorry.
I got the chat up, so I don't know what Callum did. Basically considered a bit of an idiot. All right?
Okay.
On top of that, there weren't really the things inside Bell Laboratory to make transistors. It's a bit like fucking banging two planks of wood together and then all of a sudden, a fucking
A house. Got a
glass
house.
appeared.
Yeah.
Just weren't necessarily there. They sort of went in their little shed and they came out a year later and went, oh, we've got a thing. Okay. And on top of that, and this is where I'm going back to what I was talking about earlier, on top of that, they go, we've invented this world revolutionary thing. But it's not quite the one I want, so we're going to keep that quiet. It's like fucking
What?
going into that shed and going, all right, guys, we're not coming out until we invent the plane, right? And then they go in that shed and they invent the helicopter and they go, that's kind of cool, but it's not quite what I wanted, It's just fucking does that.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Like, why withhold it like for so long?
Yeah, I know.
So strange. Okay, all right.
Right.
So, Don, you can jump in, Saruk.
Nope.
I'm curious. I'm curious.
right.
go
No.
through.
What's a transistor? Just to start off with. Start again.
Right. So wait.
Sorry, I
So what
missed
you're
that. Can
saying
you
is
start again?
there's a boy that went to invent some stuff, but he kept inventing the wrong stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then one day, the aliens came and crashed, and then
I
he
got to the aliens,
started inventing
and
the
they're
right
pro-
stuff.
I teased it for the second thing, but basically,
Right.
yes. And on top of that, on top of the fact that he invented the right thing, he invented the slightly wrong but still incredibly crazy good wrong thing first.
Yeah, right.
I like powers theory.
Oh, what's this? What's this?
Computers weren't built by aliens. They were built by Big Pharma, obviously.
Oh, okay, all right. That's coming up. You can tell us later, Ellie, why how fucking
God.
computers are made by Pharma. Oh dear.
Go on.
Okay, so let me put it a different way then. Okay, Roswell fucking happens. Let's just take that as read. I'm not going to go into that.
So we've
conspiracy
got to
theory, but
assume that Roswell's happened, right?
assume
Aliens
that
are bopping
Roswell
about.
did happen. But basically, there was quite a lot of documents, like relatively officious documents from the U.S. Army, that there was some kind of crash, unidentified object, landed in Roswell somewhere in mid-June of 47. Okay. So just for this conspiracy theory, we'll have to assume that conspiracy also happened, and that's where the fucking dominoes start to fall. But I'll just place over that one.
Yeah.
Right.
So imagine you don't want to fucking, you don't want to, you've just found fucking what's the guy's name?
Paul.
Well, I'm actually such a eunuch to pop
Paul.
culture. Paul, right? They've just fucking found Paul dead, and they're like, okay, we can't really release this. But holy shit, have you seen the dashboard? Right? It's got fucking, it's got everything on it, and it's like, I don't understand. It's not using valves or anything. How are they doing it? And they find these little black things in it, which
Racist.
we now know to be transistors. Let's just, just imagining that happened. Okay.
Hmm.
But of course, we've never seen a transistor before. What the fuck are they?
Yeah.
Well, why couldn't we
And
have just
also-
invented them? If he kept inventing stuff by mistake, right? Why couldn't he be like trying to invent like a bottle of Lucozade and then goes, "Fuck, I made a transistor," and it just happens?
Okay, so the big with transistors, you've got to dope them with something. Okay, since you ask, you've got to dope them with
Lance
something
Armstrong.
or gallium. Okay, and they just didn't have the shit in that little shed of theirs. Like, I'm calling Bell Laboratories a little shed, but it wasn't the kind of place where they would do that. That's what makes it so weird. They just didn't have the right stuff there to one day just come out.
So do
holding
you
a
think
transistor.
that this scientist guy got abducted by aliens and then all of the
No.
shit got put into his brain? He knew he had to invent a transformer but didn't know how to get there.
Transformer. He's inventing Optimus Prime now.
Yeah, right?
Transformers.
I'm thinking like Iron Man when he goes into some kid's shed and then finds a load of like little bits and then comes out of a massive robot.
Comes out with a pimpin' toaster.
Fucking Phil
Yeah.
Shockley with his Transformers. No, William Shockley with his transistors. Right, okay. I'm not suggesting that they abducted him or anything. What I'm suggesting is that the USA likes money. And they
Well,
saw this
yeah.
crash. Okay.
We
Oh,
know
we
that.
agree on that. Good. We finally agreed on something. Saruk, do you
course.
want to disagree with the fact the USA likes money?
Nah, I'm fine with that.
We're fine with that. Cool. So imagine you all of a sudden have these new toys. In fact, you have enough technology there to last the next half of the decade. The shit there you don't even understand, but you can profiteer off it. Okay?
Mhm.
You then go as the US Army to your trusted laboratories. Now, Bell Laboratories for years have been doing contracts with the US Army making shit. I did write it down. I'm sorry, guys, but they did make something really quite important for the US Army.
Drones, probably.
Someone go fact check that. What the fuck did
Yeah.
Bell? But
They
anyway,
invented freedom.
oh, it was something fucking guiding. Yeah, it was very freedom, whatever it was. And so the suggestion is that they sort of went to their trusted laboratories that they know could basically keep it quiet. All right. And go, we've got these. What the fuck are they? Can you make more of them? And then we'll sell them. All right.
All right.
And that's sort of a suggestion of why William Shockley didn't really have a clue what he was doing.
Oh,
Mostly, it was his underlings that did anything. I can hear Saruk biting at the bit. Here.
No, crack on. You call them underlings. I call them colleagues and staff. But you crack on.
Sorry, it's just before stream you called us underlings. That was weird. Okay, we are now.
I called you worse than that, but my mic was off.
Okay. So you've fucking got Bill Shockley there with his cronies, all right, with these transistors. They're not really sure what they've got. They keep writing down, oh, we discovered this today, all right? And then, a year later, oh, we discovered this other thing today. And then we sort of keep it semi-quiet enough for, I don't know, 3 years, say, come 1952, where we fucking go nuts. We've got enough paperwork, enough of a paper trail to say, oh, look, we decided to all one day start making transistors, and look what we've got the other side. And the rest is fucking history, and the computer age is born. That is my TED talk.
Right. Okay. Point of order. All right. So, Toasty, do you believe that aliens invented computers because Big Bill Shockers was apparently shocking and inventing shit? Or was he maybe just his underlings? Are they maybe just a little bit capable and managed to do it?
Potentially, but you got to think where he came from. Like, they didn't have the technology and the actual physical materials to make a transistor, and then they come out and make a transistor. It's like,
yeah, but they did. You don't have a transistor until you invent the transistor.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you
Like,
don't have
transistor. I'm
but
saying
then
it
the
came
idea
from the
must have
fucking
come
back
from
end.
somewhere.
Yeah, the fucking
Big Bill
Detonite.
Shocker's big brain. He's big 200 IQ.
well-
He was like that. I've got an idea, boys.
I've got an idea, boys. What we're going to have to do is go to the other laboratory across town, nick their fucking boron doping machine, bring it back, won't tell them, make the
Boron
transistor, take it back the next day.
Yeah.
No, it just doesn't add up. It's weird. It doesn't add up.
All
It's
right.
strange.
Very
And a lot
similar
of
to,
government
like-
stuff
Ellie,
is strange.
how about you? Right, off the fence. Yes or
Yeah.
no? Do you believe in Big Bill Shockers was a man of many talents? Or do you believe that he was a thief that stole shit from an alien ship?
I don't know. I
Fucking
don't know. It's a bit weird,
Off
though.
the fence,
I mean,
Ellie.
I get that. No, but I get that anybody can obviously invent something. You're going to get it wrong multiple times. I think Lucy said in there, Dr. Lucy, you try something over and over and over again until you get it right. But then how did he know exactly what he was looking for? It's like you said about the plane thing. Like, here's a picture of a plane and how it works. You've never actually made one. Go in there and don't come out until you make it. But then you must have seen something to get that idea. I don't know. It's weird. It's making me think, and I don't like it.
Brain hurts.
All right.
My brain hurts.
I'll get off the fence.
Okay.
I'm calling bullshit.
You're calling bullshit.
I'm
all right.
calling bullshit. I'm calling
Shocker.
bullshit. I've got faith in Big Shockers, right?
Okay.
I think that Big Shockers was a man of many means, and he went and he just sorted some shit out, and him and Bell Systems went and done some stuff, and it was quality, and that's it.
Okay.
But
It was quality,
It was quality, but it might have been aliens.
but it might have been it.
I enjoyed that.
Aliens. I think they could
Can I-
have stolen the ideas maybe and ran with them, and it was like a race to get
Can
the
I,
right
can I
thing.
direct quote someone here?
Go
just
for
to
it.
just to rebuke. Okay. I grew up in the household of the head of Bell Labs, so I knew there was something strange about the transistor because I knew Bill Shockley, and Bill Shockley was something of a witless buffoon.
You knew Bill Shockley.
I am
How old are
quoting.
you, McCall?
Guys,
Okay.
Big
I'm
twist.
quoting you-
He's a vampire.
Big twist. Okay, I'm quoting here Jack Schulman, president of the American Computer Company. That's his word. He put that on the record. That's what I'm basing the fact that Bill Shockers was a fucking idiot.
Bill Shocker's fucked. Oh,
Fucking idiot.
big
Bill
twist.
Shockers,
It
man.
turns out
Big twist.
McLeod's name is actually Paul.
Bill Shockers.
Bum bum bum.
He did kill him. And do you know what?
Mate.
If he's got insider info,
Put my name on it. They're not even called transistors. We don't call that on my home planet. You know?
that's funny.
Planet McLeod.
Right, McLeod. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. We're moving on from that to something that's a little bit, I was going to say more serious, but that is serious, right? I'm not doubting that. This is a little bit more relevant.
And also stupid.
Relevant in today's life, okay? Don't worry, we're going to get back onto aliens soon, guys, all right? Don't worry about it.
This could be linked to aliens.
It could be. Lady Ellie is going to talk about Big Pharma and how they are destroying the world with medicine.
Evil Big Pharma. Well, yeah, because we were talking about this whole conspiracy thing, meaning it may or may not be true. Big Pharma's true. Like, it's a thing. So if anybody doesn't know what Big Pharma is, which, fun fact, because I'm blonde, I thought Big Pharma was just a pharmaceutical company called Big Pharma.
I thought it was a big farm. I thought it was where they kept
a big farm,
They kept loads of chickens.
So yeah, I after much investigations, I can confirm it's a big group of all the major pharmaceutical companies that are doing very naughty things to make our lives hell and make themselves rich, basically. I don't think many people will disagree, but you can disagree if you want to. So I've got, because it's so vast, there's like little snippets that I'm gonna talk about. So one that might not be super obvious, there's a company called Johnson & Johnson, so you'll know them by like the baby company, like baby lotion and powders and things like that. So it's fairly recent.
Some good baby
you might
oil.
have heard of it in
They do good baby oil.
They do good.
That's my favourite.
Oh, come on.
Out of all the baby oils, I have to say that's the best baby oil.
Every week, delivery.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Right. Anyway, moving on. So this is actually quite sad because it's a recent thing. You may have heard of it in the news, but Johnson & Johnson were rumoured to be the cause of ovarian cancer in a lot of women. So basically, because the talc is found obviously it's a mineral, so it's in the ground and stuff near asbestos. So then it's believed that when it was used on like the genitalia area, that it could then go up and cause cancer in your ovaries. So basically, they got sued and paid they paid out like $4.7 billion in damages or something. But basically, it's from the product that they were selling in 1970, and they did samples more recently, so 2009, 2010, and didn't find anything conveniently. But it's when the big pharma thing starts with, they don't do enough testing of like effectiveness on products. They just do it as fast as possible. If it relatively works, they pump it out and get everybody to buy it. Not really caring about all the other, what's the word? Repercussions, like the other effects it can cause. So diabetic medication, they'll pump out the quickest diabetic meds to help with blood sugar, but they won't tell you that it's going to cause like a heart attack. Like they keep those, they don't look as much into those things. They have to list them all as like adverse side effects and stuff. But they could stop that. They could do the full testing of it, but they don't. Vaccines is another one. So Argentina, what year was it? Hang on, I've got a little notebook because I'm sad. It was
or something else.
Right. So it was the company JSK. So in 2014, they got done for like unethical conduct. Because they'd been going to Argentina and testing a vaccine that was for meningitis and stuff. They were purposely targeting like poor families and pushing the parents to try this vaccine for their baby. And I think it was like 14,000 babies it was tested on, and a lot of them died. Like they weren't, the vaccine wasn't tested enough. But it was funny that they didn't go to a number of different places. It was these third world countries that they were going for, and they were just used as guinea pigs. So there's a lot of what's the word?
The thing with that stuff, that
Carelessness. It's not. They're not thorough enough because all they're thinking about is the money. Like the companies, the pharmaceutical companies, control the patents around the compounds, the chemical compounds, so that rival companies can't go in and try and make a cheaper product quicker, basically, because they know that they can ride this mediocre product for years. I mean, it'll go from 5 years to 10 years to 25 years. They'll just keep riding it. They don't need to make their product better because they know that they've got the hold. So it's just really wrong. I don't I don't believe in that. Like, why do that? And it is a thing.
It's, well, as you say, it's money. Like, at the end of the day, like, if people are ill, they're going to keep buying the medicine. If people get cured, then they're not going to buy the medicine. So you keep them ill. Like, that's the whole point. Like,
it's a weird one, that one, because there was a couple of things in chat saying, well, that's more facts rather than a conspiracy. But the thing is, conspiracies, even the term conspiracy theory, right, was coined in a way to discredit people that are challenging authority, challenging governments, and challenging decisions that they make, in order to make people seem kooky, to make people seem wrong and obtuse and all that sort of stuff. Now, what this is an example of isn't necessarily that aliens came down and built toasters, right? That this is, this.
The one that you're now vying to the government, man.
Yeah.
You're making me sick.
Yeah. This is one of those ones where it's
they're watching, bro.
What the conspiracy is. The conspiracy is the fact that these companies know fine well the damage that they're doing and the potential struggles that they can cause people in the community, the people that they're there to serve, and they're conspiring to sell us falsehoods in order to make larger profits.
It's very easy for them to do it as well, because they're saying that at the heart of it, you're curing people, we're making people better. Like Dodges just said here, cure cancer and they lose billions. That's another thing. Like, can cancer already be cured? Can it be done faster? Are we hanging on to it? I think there is some truth in that. I don't think they're hiding a cure for cancer, because, as everybody probably knows, there isn't one universal cure for cancer. You can't just cure all cancers with this magical vaccine or whatever, this magical injection. It's more complicated than that. But do I think that they're hanging on to certain bits of research and information? Yeah. I think they're stretching it out as far as they can to make money. I mean, look at the opioid epidemic that happened. They were the big pharmaceutical companies. What was it? Oxycontin. Were giving money to doctors because it's illegal to pay a doctor to endorse like a product, to prescribe a certain product. However, they can gift a lot of money to these doctors, and they get continual gifts if they continue to prescribe. So it was Dr. Jacqueline Cleggett that ended up in prison for basically a pill mill in New Orleans. So I don't know if anybody's seen the documentary on Netflix called The Pharmacist, but it's really good. I recommend it. But basically, it was like over 50,000 people died in 2017 alone, like just from like the opioid epidemic, and it's all because these doctors are getting given money to prescribe something wrongly. She was giving out like Xanax and Soma with it as well, I think, which they called like the Holy Trinity. Like they had. She was just getting people in, even teenagers, like young children, were getting prescribed Oxycontin, and it was like Purdue Pharma. But yeah, they filmed them and they filmed her and everything. They were going in at all hours of the day, and she was claiming to run, a normal clinic like any doctor, any registered doctor. But that's on a very acute scale. That's how massive the whole thing is. The whole big pharma thing is. It's all these tiny little branches. They're doing it for vaccines. They're doing it for products that they release, because it's not just pharmaceutical companies. It's like the FDA. Are they in on it as well? And all these, some of the drugs that get prescribed, those pharmaceutical companies, who's giving the funding? Why are we having loads of that product and not another product? And what's their agenda when they're given that amount of money to make the product?
And it's the fact that they get laws changed as well. You know, like a lot of these guys, like big pharmaceutical companies, are like they'll rock up to a potential senator or governor or whatnot, and be like, "All right, big man, listen, I will donate loads. I couldn't think of a number that was reasonable. Like, I'll donate millions.
No,
I'll donate millions to your campaign, and we'll invent the transistor if you like either allow these FDA rules or let these happen.
Politics as well, couldn't you? Because like if you're involved with politics and you donate to certain type of research that then helps a load of people, but then is that really good for those patients? And you're getting all that credit for helping people.
Do you know as well?
Are they really helping?
I saw when you said you were doing this, I saw a thing that when clinical studies are done, they tend to discount a lot of the ones that are negative or don't show any specific.
Yeah.
You know,
they pick and choose what looks good for them. They don't have to disclose absolutely everything, and I think that's really wrong. Yeah, definitely. It's another way to push out companies that don't have the funding but can do the research themselves. That's why I said controlling all the patents and stuff as well. It's just a massive on a massive scale. It's really scary. With coronavirus coming out, it makes you think, doesn't it? Like on a really here's another conspiracy tangent. So, did someone put coronavirus out there? Because exactly. It's strange, isn't it, that the big pharma type companies, all their stocks and everything before coronavirus were plummeting.
Well,
so you can see like they're on a downward spike.
It makes me laugh. Like I've seen a video of Bill Gates saying like the second wave, they might understand about coronavirus, and like Statman's like laughing about it. There's misses on like a video interview. It's like, oh, the second wave will get him like, and then people are thinking, well, is he involved? Because obviously he's got a lot of money, he can do a lot of negotiation with the power he's got. But as you say, money talks. Like if you've got enough money, you can listen to whatever the fuck you want. Like if you want to, as like with the big farmers, they are producing the products, they are putting it the labels, people are taking it. Like regardless of what they're doing, it people are still going to use them. And that's why I do sort of believe with it, especially with the cancer thing, and like there could potentially be a cure, at least a slow, at least more advancement of human race where we've become in cancer. Because how long we've been fighting cancer?
I think,
now? Like
60, I think if money wasn't an issue, I mean, like them making the money wasn't the issue, I think they could detect cancer quicker than they can. I mean, we are detecting it quicker, but I'm saying that big pharma is so in control of spreading everything out that I think they're like 10 years behind at least.
See the corona thing, right?
Believe it.
There's a few people talking about that.
That's just my opinion.
Like, personally, it's like
we're spilling over to corona.
Yeah,
now.
They were talking about it's. I was just thinking because like my whole take on that is it spread initially, you know, in Wuhan, okay, the Wuhan province in China, and there was the big deal made about them having that big laboratory in Wuhan province that also done work, including on different coronaviruses. Now, do I think there was a conspiracy that the Chinese released it? Bullshit. No, I don't. Do I think that they have maybe not the best health and safety regulations, and Mr. Employee number 463 didn't quite wash his apron properly, walked down the street and ate something somewhere and passed something on to somebody? Do you know what? Do you know what? Like, or like stole a bat or done something raj like that. Do you know what? It's almost when you hear that. To me, that's actually a more plausible explanation than the explanation we've been given. Mutating bats and some boy ate it on a stall and that was that. All right.
The thing with big pharma though is like the lawyers are breathing down the employees' necks, so it's not like it. Like I think that's another factor into it, that not all the checks are done, not all the effectiveness, the drug effectiveness is checked properly and done over a longer period of time that it should be, because the lawyers are breathing down the neck. Come on, we need to get this out. It's not done the way it should be because of money. That's basically the beginning and end of it. I don't,
Well, I guess
I think what Dr. Lucy said about Sorry, go on.
It's like you make a product for 70p and then you sell it for 70 quid.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're doing,
Mhm.
especially in the States. Like it's ridiculous how much like insulin pens cost and pregnancy and all this other stuff. And it's like just because you need to be better, and if you're diabetic and if you don't take your med, you need to spend $2,000 a month to stay alive. Like how is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and all the smaller companies are trying to, release similar drugs, and they're being restricted by these patents and stuff, and they can't get it out, and they want to sell it out at a reasonable price, but they're having to go through lawyers and fight these massive companies, and a lot of them do try, and some win, but it's not very successful. And it's just it shows you, doesn't it, that these big companies, what kind of agenda that they have if they've got this massive hold on the market. And Dr. Lucy just said a thing about you take a pill and it doesn't work, you take another pill. And that's exactly another point of the whole big pharma thing is, they don't take into effect all the side effects. I think it was antidepressant drugs then give you other side effects and things. I can't remember the one on here, sorry guys. I have a lot of notes.
You can buy like antibiotics
basically,
off the counter and shit in the States, can't you? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Dr. Lucy mentioned about thalidomide. I do know a little bit about thalidomide in some of my previous work that I've done.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've got it mixed up. I'll tell you in a second.
No, crack on. Yeah, there's a tranquilizer, isn't it?
Yeah. It seems like it's prescribed as the miracle drug for almost anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got a headache? Trank yourself.
You got
Yeah.
Literally. Horse tranquilizers, mate. Just get
Sorry, Ellie, you were saying, pal.
No, it was acne treatment, was causing depression. And basically then they end up on the psychotropic drugs. And it makes you think, like, it's funny that these companies sell the acne treatment, but then they can also sell you these psychotropic drugs that you now need because you have depression. Like, it's children, and it takes them years to get off these psychotropic drugs. And you take in a pill to counteract, the effect of one pill, and then another one, and you have to do it because you go to a doctor and you say, this is what's wrong with me, and they say, okay, we'll take this. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else. It's literally what every single doctor will tell you. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be more effective. And obviously it's not going to work for everybody. But the reason there are so many varieties and it doesn't work for everybody enough is because they don't test the effectiveness of drugs enough. On purpose, in my opinion.
Well, it's like the heroin thing. Like, people who are heroin addicts have to take methadone, and they get addicted to methadone. It's kind of like you're just replacing an addiction with an addiction, because people get, as you say, addicted to painkillers.
Oh, but a legal addiction that we can charge for.
Yeah, we can control your addiction. That's what the whole
we can't legally sell heroin and tax it, but we can.
You could.
Do it to that.
They could.
Exactly.
They could if they wanted to.
Well, everything.
Well, they could do.
Everything
they should do, but that's probably a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
But no, I get it. No,
Sorry, go on.
I don't see it being untrue at all. Like, there's a lot of things about it which, there's a lot of things that the media tell you, like the news and stuff. They only tell you what they want to tell you. They're not going to tell you everything. Of course they're not, because they have control. So it's kind of like, if it is happening, no one's going to know. And if you do know and find out anyway, no one's going to believe you, because, as you say, you're battling up against titans. You're just one man against fucking massive giants of people. But I think it will always be like that until someone slips up, or someone says something, or something happens where it becomes public knowledge. But I definitely see it being, quite true, especially the day and age we live in, of course.
It's sad because there is just nothing we can do about it. It's like if the money keeps getting given to these big companies, they are going to be in control. There's nothing that can be done about it, because unless more money goes to those companies that have, that are well-meaning and want to put a cheaper product, actually help people. But then when you're getting given this big chunk of money, that could be your intention, that you want to give out a cheaper product that will help people. But then this big company's saying, well, actually, because we gave you that big chunk of money, we want you to do it in this amount of time. And we don't want you doing this, we want you doing this. And that's exactly why big pharma is big pharma. We've given you this chunk of money, therefore we're pulling the strings,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it's such a big issue. I mean, like, you could spend a whole 2 hour 2 or 3 hour podcast just talking about that. You know, there's a lot of different things,
Yeah.
and it
Sorry.
varies. No, it varies depending on. No, you're right. It varies depending on place to place. Prescriptions, you know, in England, for example, you still have to pay for your prescriptions. Is that right? Am I right? Yeah, like
Yes.
in Scotland they're free.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We have free
Yeah.
prescriptions.
Like
Certain people don't, but yeah.
Yeah, we get free prescriptions for being humans. You know,
Oh wow.
they tend to treat us a bit like that sometimes.
It's like
How was that?
Dr.
How's that
Lucy
feel
just
like?
said. What's that like? It's crazy because I've lived in the States, so I've been in both sides. So I know that I don't ever want to worry about breaking an arm or my children breaking an arm or having a super emergency that they say, right, we need to swipe your card before you come in, like because you think that that's a big joke and it really isn't. I've worked over there, lived over there. It's Dr. Lucy's just said cold sore medication in the US $55, UK $5, and it's like antibiotics. Pounds, sorry. Even with good healthcare, I had good healthcare over there, and it still costs you what would be like a mortgage payment in the UK monthly for you to have that. And every time you see a doctor, the copays have gone up now, I've been informed, but my copay used to be about $25 before a doctor would even see me. And that wasn't urgent care, like that wasn't, the emergency room. That was a normal doctor's appointment. I think it might have been Leo said some of the insurances now, it's like $100 to go to the emergency room just before they do anything, and then they'll bill you. And that's with health insurance. So it really is crazy.
Do you know what's almost
the thing is, just for granted, really.
They'll fix you.
Do.
I mean, they'll fix you in America. They'll fix you.
Oh,
but
they will,
you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose your house. You're gonna lose everything. You know, you're gonna be laid up with bills. That's what you should have done, Ellie. You should have been in there, just got everything. Just got everything you possibly could. All the checks, any cosmetic surgery you want, just put it on the bill, big man. And then got your arse back here again. It would have been fine. You know, that would have worked out okay, right? Guys, that's sorry, Karen.
It was a deciding thing because I could have had like citizenship. I could have gone for that. I didn't want to do it. Like I was so terrified of being in the States, and I know that's really dramatic, but I've got children. Like I really just was worried about any of us being ill. Yeah. But I know a few American, like I've got a load of American friends, like say, I've got this my elbow hurts. I really need to go see somebody about it. But, do I pay the car this month or do I go get my elbow sorted out? You shouldn't have to decide that.
It's, I mean, it's sort of drifting a little bit, but it goes from the way I see it. Obviously, I've not lived in America, and I apologize to any American viewers that I may get this slightly wrong in my viewpoint on it. But it's kind of like a negative impact of what people term the American dream. You know, it's a case of you come to the land of the free, you can do what you want, be who you want, you earn your money, you earn your keep, and you can be the best you can be. Just don't expect a handout. It's all on you.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of negative aspect of it. It's like when we were looking at coronavirus and people were marching in the streets, a lot of them, we got a lot of the sound bites where they were like idiots saying, I want my freedom to go and bowling and stuff, A lot of people weren't marching and arguing for lockdown to be shut down because of that. They were arguing because they wanted to go to work, because otherwise they don't get any money. They can't they can't live, they can't feed their children, Instead of arguing that people for, the right shouting at the left for being all sort of snowflakes and this and that, they're arguing at their own people. They should be talking to the government and saying, help us, It's not socialism to help your fucking nation out,
Well, that's the thing, like
we're all human that way. At the end of the day, we're all human beings.
Exactly. I think like the last thing I'll say about it, because I'll wrap it up now. But Callum's just made a point and said our government is slowly trying to privatize the NHS. They are, because they have no choice. I'm like, for the NHS, if people had been using the NHS how they should be using the NHS, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. And I'm a strong believer of that. And I don't know if anyone will disagree with me, but basically now, because of coronavirus, it's funny that our local A&E, you can walk in and there's no queue. But because it's hard to see a GP, people go straight to A&E because they know they'll be seen at some point eventually. That's not what the ER's for. You shouldn't be there. And people are going in with a rash on their leg that they've had for a couple of days. Like, you shouldn't be in A&E for that. And
some rashes you should get checked out though, boys and girls. Be safe.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
So,
This is not medical advice. I am not a medical.
Some rashes you should definitely get checked out. If you've had a night on the drink.
Oh, now you're
and
making it dirty.
You've been out,
I was
and
thinking,
you
like,
wake up
babies'
next to
rashes and stuff.
you wake up next to
Oh,
somebody,
God.
then you're like, ooh, like, and you have a rash a couple of days
Easy
later.
to
You
apply.
go and get that checked out. If it means going to A&E, you go to A&E, right? You use that A&E, and you get checked
No.
by the very best
Go to a
doctors you
sexual
can.
health clinic. Gosh, right. Move on before I get mad.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
You got
welcome.
clapped. Right.
Oh god.
Next up, guys.
I'm getting too hot in here now. You've
Oh,
made
we're
me
not,
get all
are we not
red.
voting on whether
Oh,
Big
of course,
Pharma's
right.
a
I was
thing?
going to say Big
Are we just
Pharma. I
taking
mean,
it
it's one of those
Sorry,
things
we're
where, in terms
voting.
of voting on it, it's like one of those things where we've just got to accept that, yes, surely we can all agree that big companies are assholes and they're immoral, they're unethical. It doesn't matter what they say, what they put out in their sort of propaganda, and what narrative they try to spin. They're dickheads that they're going to try and make as much money as possible, regardless of how that's going to
100%.
affect people.
100%.
And that's what I think. Does anyone disagree with that?
No, I'm just going to say what I was going to say
Go
because
for it,
I've been
man.
sat here for like 10 minutes with the word oligopoly in my head. I'm like, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. And then
He's going to make a new board game.
for all of us. But no, yeah, I do not find it at all hard to believe that a virtual oligopoly fucking prioritizes their bottom line over people's lives. What I do
Yeah.
have a problem with, and I know you're not saying this as like a big conspiracy, but I want to bring it wacky again a little bit, you know.
Okay.
And it's
Go
something
ahead.
that Toasty touched on a little bit by accident, okay? And that's someone's going to slip up is I think the words Toasty said. If there was, and I'm going to focus in on this one, if there was the big fucking miracle cancer cure that does everything, there would be women at parties talking about, oh, have you got the new Cancer 9 drug? It's so fucking good. It would have slipped up. And that's my problem with, the sort of the conspiracies that revolve around something really big. Like, I believe the moon landings happened, not because I think the Americans are great or anything, just because they couldn't keep the secret,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
So,
Fair. And we learned a new word today, ladies and gentlemen.
Word of the day.
Word of the
This
day is
podcast is
oligopoly.
sponsored by the word. Oligopoly.
It's a very cheap form of monopoly that you can buy at your local Lidl
Oh gosh, it's
or
hot.
Aldi. It's in the middle aisle, right? You know where you go shopping and that cheap. I don't know if you've got them everywhere, right? That middle aisle, and you've got like, for some reason, you've got like an inflatable swimming pool. You've got 3 different types of clothes racks, and then you've got the pile of oligopolies there. That's where you'll find that.
all of them there. No one wants them, even on the fucking special offers.
No one wants them there.
But
Up
yeah.
next, we have Toasty.
Mr. Toast.
Oh,
And
God.
Toasty's going to bring us the story of
Oh, I can't wait
ancient
for this
Egypt.
one.
I am ready. I'm getting close to this one.
The pyramids,
So
no,
excited.
guys, all this
their,
pressure.
their
like,
construction,
No, it's not.
what happened, who made them, why
Yeah.
did they make
who
them?
made them?
Toasty,
Why?
tell us.
Tell us,
Tell me.
Toast.
Hello, everyone. So we're going to be talking about the Great Pyramids of Giza and how, not I believe, but I believe there's a lot of evidence in the pyramids in like the measurements and how they was built and why they was built and why people believe aliens built them and what the purpose was for. There's a few different people with a few different theories, like it's a machine, it's a sort of power plant. I've sort of delved into all these different conspiracies with other people just to try and sort of tie it all together. So everybody knows the pyramids, the pyramids of Giza, the massive ones. Obviously
Massive
built
ones.
3000 BC. It was originally believed for religious reasons for like the pharaohs and their queens. And the Egyptians actually was the first civilization to believe in an afterlife. So they believed in a second self called the Ka that lived within the human being. And when the physical body expired, so like when we died, the Ka sort of lived on and enjoyed eternal lives. So that people believe that's why the pyramids. Yeah, so people believe that's why the pyramids are there for, as like a journey, as a symbol to get you to the afterlife, so your car can keep living on.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So the Pyramid of Giza, the biggest one, it was built over 4,000 years ago now. I believe that pyramid. And to be fair, compared to all the other pyramids that have been built around the world, it's not just them three. There is a couple of different sites with other pyramids on as well. Even though this one is centuries older, it's the most preserved out of all of them. So that sort of makes me believe is, well, why is it most preserved? Did they build it a certain way? Like, what did they use to build it? Was there a reason why it's more preserved? And as I say, it's centuries older than the other ones as well. What have I put here? I'm just sort of scrolling through my notes. What I did find with the pyramids, when they built them, it's perfectly aligned with magnetic north. So the main pyramid, the Pyramid of Giza. So the thing is, when they built it, magnetic north was a different north at the time when they originally built it. So it wasn't facing north when they originally built it. But somehow they knew thousands of years into the future that magnetic north would be a different star to it to be pointed to that star. And I think it's off by literally 0.3 of a degree. It's so tiny and it's so precise. And
why are you laughing, McLeod?
Because the clock in my room that stopped is also right twice a day, you know.
Nah, shit. You
No,
just
that's
my
true.
joke.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, but how did they know? Like obviously they align with Orion's belt. Like all the three main pyramids of Giza do align with Orion's belt. I don't know how precise that is.
Like
obviously,
that.
we haven't
I
been
do like
to
that
Orion's
one.
belt.
In 10,000 BC, yeah, it fucking line it with Orion's belt, and that is a fucking weird one. How they did that.
They'll be like, it's all right, guys.
Like,
they're going to have the internet when that comes around, right?
Yeah.
So they'll be able to talk about it. Nobody's going to get this now, right?
They had computers there. There's no doubt about it.
Oh,
Sandbox.
yeah.
No,
Big Bill Shockers was back there sorting them out with computers.
Me and Bill Shockers were there.
Yeah, Bill Shockers building the pyramids.
Sorry,
folks. No, like I was just saying, at the time, people believed it was impossible to work out. Like with the technology they had, with the the experience they had of building and everything like that. Even now, like we can do it now. Obviously, we've got compasses and stuff, but they had no compasses back then. People believed you could build a sort of compass with like a swinging weight, so it's sort of pointed. But to get it that precise is kind of baffling. And then like, well, why did it have to be magnetic north? Anyway, moving on. So I sort of read that with the technology we've got these days, we wouldn't be able to build the pyramids the same dimensions as they did over 4,000 years ago. I don't know how true that is. We've got pretty good technology now. I feel like that could be a point. But the blocks themselves, they wasn't originally like that. It's like they've been laser cut to be that precise. So when reading into it,
wondered that, like, how did they actually get them into that shape?
Yeah,
Because I'm not that way inclined, but yeah.
I'm kind of into this. Like, I feel really bad for doing the stop clock thing, but it just occurred to me. But I am kind of into this.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll get more into like how many blocks was built, how long it took, where they got the blocks from, theories on how they moved them, sort of a little bit later on. But that does go into the sort of laser precision of the construction of the pyramids, because it is literally like airtight. And there was over 2 million blocks used, weighing from anywhere from 2 to 15 tons. So that we'll sort of go into level how they move them. As I say, they are a lot more preserved compared to the pyramids. They was originally built in like a white limestone on the outside, so it was like a sleek limestone. So you can imagine that 4,000 years ago, in the middle of the fucking desert, there was a big white pyramid, what was like glistening almost, like glinting in the sun. But that was an extra sort of 200,000 blocks they had to build on the outside, but they had to get rid of them because they needed it for resources to build houses after like this war happened or something. I didn't really read into that bit, but yeah, they sort of took them away. That's why it's sort
it was some genocide.
Loads of people died and shit. I don't know.
Some guy went like through the desert, like a sea that went parted or whatever, and they needed the blocks. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. But if you go to the pyramids now, you see at the top what it sort of used to look like. It's a little bit slimmer at the top compared to the rest of it. So that's imagine if you look at a picture of it, that would be like the full length of the full pyramid, basically. What I did find out when I was looking into the measurements of the pyramid and what they actually built up for and what the measurements were for, someone sort of worked out if you take the length of the pyramid and its mean socket level, which is the corners, basically, it translates to 365.242 cubits long, which is the measurement they used to build the pyramids at the time. And that is exactly the same time as an Earth year down to the quarter day. So,
yeah,
to the actual quarter day. So that's the length and the socket level. And they built that knowing, but how did they know what the quarter day was? Like, I didn't even realize a year was a quarter day until I read it. And I was like, holy shit, there's a quarter day in a year. And like they built the pyramids to replicate that. But and then I'm like, well, why did they do that? Like, what's the meaning of it? This is all I'm like, well, why? If it was
No,
aliens,
yeah, because I would
why
be
did
sat
they
there and
build
be
it?
like, but why? But why? But why?
And it's like, there's no information on it. It just doesn't delve. It just sort of tells you the facts and then moves on. And I'm like,
James has just asked, isn't one Captain Gold?
I believe so. There was 3 of them built, and they had like different sort of materials on the outside, I believe. I know one was white limestone. I think one was like a smaller black sort of stone. I think like an obsidian. I don't really know what it was called.
I think this is a plan in the late 90s to cap one in gold by the Egyptian government, as opposed to it had cap to begin with. So it was sort of just a bit of a publicity. I don't know.
Just like a.
Just to be clear, my level of research is I'm reading the Google fucking, it's giving
I went deeper than Google.
Also, my level of research is about the face of Google and a bit of YouTube. So yeah, sorry if the facts are wrong. But we delved in.
I'm the only one that did real research.
He said, I want conspiracy theories. I didn't want to be depressed about the fact they're going to die of cancer and they're going to have the cure.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry,
Sorry. No, it's all right. No, crack on. Yeah. I was just... It sort of talks about the construction, and it says it was about 2.3 million bricks, weighing from 2 to 15 tons each, it used to build the pyramids. All right. It took 23 years to build. So that would mean you have to place a block every 2.5 minutes every day for 7 days a week for this to happen within 23 years.
The Chinese just built a hospital in like a week. So,
Yeah, but that also fell down
4,000 years ago, moving 15-ton blocks where they had like no pulley system, they had no wheels, they had no work animals.
They didn't make
also,
that.
Structural integrity was shit.
Yeah, well, but
that's true. Earthquake and it falls.
And that one has lasted 4,000 years. They're on a bit of a different quality scale.
How do you know though? Maybe it's like when you have like a pet as a kid, right? And you've got a hamster. And your mum and dad just keep like replacing it, and you think that your hamsters live for like 33 years.
I didn't.
Right. So you think someone's gonna erect a pyramid every so many years?
Maybe that's why the coronavirus happened. Maybe they needed
to just deter us away from Egypt.
Yeah. No. What? Right. There's my theory is we had to keep us all indoors, right? Meanwhile, they could go and put up a new pyramid. Seems legit, right?
No.
That's true.
No, all right.
Carry on, Toast.
Hey, Toasty. What?
So
who built the pyramids then? If it wasn't the little dudes.
Well, so it doesn't really specify why or who built them. It doesn't really say there was these sort of aliens from this place and they came down to do this for this certain reason. It just sort of delves into the facts that how they was built and why they was built with the sort of coordinates, which I'll talk about in a second, and when it was built and how it's the Earth year and how they had that sort of technology and information at that time when all they was doing theoretically was just putting blocks together. So as it talks about like the 2.3 million blocks, obviously 2.5 minutes every single day, 7 days a week to get it done in 23 years. And these blocks were 2 to 15 tons each. And some of them, they had to be moved on a quarry, which was over 500 miles away. So they had to move them from this quarry, shape them, and then get them on with no pulley systems.
Why didn't they build them next to the quarry? Why build them right in the fucking nowhere?
Exactly.
Well, let's build it there. Nah, fuck you. Yeah, we're going over there.
Because it was like, so like I said, there was no work animals. They had no sort of pulley systems. All they had was chisels and pickaxes to basically chip away at the stone. And then there's a theory where they used water and they put it in front of the block. So when the block pulled over the sand with the water, it didn't have friction, so it was easier to slide. So that's another theory how they moved them. But 500 miles of that, and then getting it up a pyramid, like to get it plonked on and to do that every 2.5 minutes, I found a bit unrealistic.
The Proclaimers sang a song about it, I
think. Come on then, Saruk, sing it.
Nah, it's all right. That's for another day.
Wake up. Right. Anyway.
Question. I don't know if I'm being stupid because obviously climates change over years and whatever. Was the desert a fucking desert when they were built?
Yeah,
I believe so. I don't know if it was as deserty as it is now. It could have had certain oases and certain points in there. But
out of 10,
I wasn't
desert it was Egypt.
I how much
Was it
desert?
built on Mars and then plonked into the middle of an Egyptian desert?
Like, I believe it was, but I think it was.
Chat has said it was a desert, and so 100% of the chat who have replied think yes.
There has been theories about
Yes, it was a desert.
about
I'm from around the area.
there has been theories about that part of the world, not necessarily them, but even further before. Like, you know, then they look at the Sphinx and things like that, about how old things actually are. I believe, because the Sphinx, I believe, has like what seems to be
Apparently.
rain marks on it. You know, in terms of like erosion
Well, that
caused by
was, like,
rain.
Yeah.
And it's like as if it's been underwater at a period of time, which I think's weird. You know, which I
It
think's
was
weird.
talking about that as well, about the Sphinx and about how that's linked and stuff, but I didn't really delve into that. But yeah, it's just crazy, like the amount of people thought of like, okay, well, how did they get it up the pyramid? Oh, well, there must have been a ramp structure, like a massive ramp structure. Some people believe that they dragged all this up, get it up the top, big bad bosh. But there was no evidence of ramp structure. There's no sort of chiselings or markings. There's nothing around the pyramids to say that there's a ramp there. There's no sort of blocks or anything that's been put in place to sort of get this massive ramp to move these massive blocks up there. So, like, in my mind, how people think, yeah, they had a lot of slaves. I get that. What is 100,000 or something, or 50,000 slaves? And maybe you could do it if they're doing it 7 days a week, but I don't know, 2.5 minutes and getting these blocks that high and then like 15 tons and the cut like precise to be slid in between each other, and all they had was chisels and pickaxes. Like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, even now with like laser cutters, I suppose we could do it now with laser cutters, but Jesus, crazy. Anyway, right, there's some research anyway, what I've done. There's the coordinates of the Great Pyramid. So if you actually go on Google and type in the coordinates of the Great Pyramid, the number sequence is exactly the same with the speed of light, but to meters per second. So the coordinates is like 299,792,458. But if you do it in MPH, it's 299,792,458 miles per hour. And that's the exact coordinates of the speed of light if you turn it into miles per hour, which I found very weird. How did they know to put it
is weird,
there?
but like McLeod said, it's like your clock's working like twice or whatever.
It's a bit more weird because it's like we'd have to, if it was one off, you'd have to go find a different number that wasn't the constant for the speed of light through air, through a vacuum or through an air. I suppose actually, you could keep doing that, couldn't you? So, actually, it's a bit slower than the speed of light. That's okay. That's the constant of speed of light through fucking boron or some shit, you know.
Would they know what that was, and why would they build it to represent the speed of light? Did they get told what the speed of light was? Did they get told they had to build it there?
Well, I get the impression that Ellie's sort of suggesting they went, all right, lads, let's start digging here. And it's just by accident.
Yeah, like a major coincidence. It's like someone being like, so-and-so died on my birthday, like, or you know, the little things that you put together and you think like, I don't know, you've got a black cat. Oh my gosh, so have I. Like, it's that kind of thing.
It's
like
that Jim
but on a
Carrey
major
movie.
scale, like, you know.
Was it 23?
Coinciding to Dr. Lucy.
You know, it is like all those. There's loads of these sort of coincidences, and you sort of think, well, yeah, but why? What? And I don't know. I mean, I think
like it's the seventh wonder of the world. It's just sort of been put there. There's like there is researchers. I've got names and stuff of what people think it was used for, but it's just weird. It's just a pyramid. It's like just sat there. It's like, well, why is it just sat there? Like what?
They had pharaohs. They must have pretty big egos, right? I mean, if I was a pharaoh, yeah,
exactly.
I'd be like, right, boys, guess what we're doing today? I'm gonna need you to travel 500 miles. You're gonna pick up those rocks, and I need like a line of you that's like a 2.5 minute gaps.
They're coming
right?
too.
2.5 minute gaps, boys. Let's do this. Boom, boom, boom. And we'd rock it. And it would smash it. Honestly, we'd knock it out of the park.
Oh,
that's all right. And you can't drink the water. We're putting it in front of the rocks to do the friction. So don't drink it, lads. Just keep carrying it out.
Obviously, we need frictionless. We need the smoothest silk. Because I want I don't want that squinty shitty pyramid, right? You know that one that's all like fucking like I want the good pyramid.
I want them in 4,000 years to be still talking about this and fucking drawing weird conclusions about it, lads. That's what I want. That's the dynasty I want for my pharaohhood.
But is it? I mean,
find the most fascinating is the actual shape of it. Like nothing's shaped like that. Like, I mean, obviously roofs and stuff are pointed, but then you think, why are they pointed? Like for the water to run down. So like, was
Yeah,
it a rainy place then? No, but I'm saying like, is that why the pyramids were built like that? Was it not a desert then? That's what makes me think that. Like, why would they shape it like that?
Just a cool
Satellite.
geometry, isn't it? He's going through his geometry book that one of his fucking transistor dudes had made. It's like, oh, well, I wasn't there. I was drawing these pictures, boss. It's like, well, I like that one. Let's build a couple of these. You know?
Yeah. You know, it's been something interesting as well
Yeah.
about that period. You know, when you said, you know, X number of slaves were used. Now, I had a conversation that was similar to when people were talking about China, and then building this hospital and all this sort of stuff. That's why I kind of brought that up. From a modern interpretation, maybe we could be looking at what we would consider slaves, but back then, the way that they ran a society, the way they were expected to behave in a society, may very well have been very different. So, I mean, to build these sorts of things, if it was humans, let's say for a second it was humans that done this, right? Just exactly, and they just worked their tits off.
Put it out there.
Yeah, they worked their little tits off, right?
Fucking nuts here.
They're
I'd
going to
imagine
have to be. These guys are going to have to be well fed. They're going to have to be well watered. They're going to have housing. They're going to have to be motivated, or else it's just not going to happen. So maybe we see slavery, whereas they see that in a way, kind of like how China is, their society is. It's very much for the common good. I mean, that's not quite China. There's a bit more to it than that. But they might say a little bit more for the whole rather than for the individual.
Yeah.
And it might have, like, you know, then give people a different impetus to actually work, or a different impetus to do things, or a different focus in certain ways. I don't know. I like the idea that it was an alien that came down and was like, I need a big,
Of course you do.
I need a big triangle. Why? Or no, it's no, even better, guys. Right, I've got it. Alien.
I'm ready.
Alien, right? McLeod, you're other alien, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm like, here, Paul, listen,
Paul.
I've got an idea. You see the humans down there? I bet you I could get them to make a fucking huge triangle in the desert. And you're like, bullshit. I'll guarantee you. He's like, all right, 19 space Toblerones, right? If I get them to make a big fuck off triangle in the desert.
I want a space
And
Toblerone.
then, like, 23 years later, Paul's just standing there like this.
Told you, boys.
Well done, mate. You did it. You did it. That's what I like to believe.
To be fair, like I said, I don't believe this. I don't believe aliens come down. Like I do believe in aliens. I do believe we're not the only one, because
Elon Musk exists.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
At
an
the end of the
alien.
day, like for people in the whole universe is kind of shallow-minded. I personally think, because the chances of that is like 1 in a trillion billion million. But I don't. It's just weird. It's just that there's a lot of weird stuff with the pyramids, like even the way the chambers inside and how they was built, and people built sort of scale models of it and then used it and treated it like a machine, and certain things happened with it, and they felt like, well, if that happened on a bigger scale, would be a signal. Let me sort of delve in what I mean. So people believe there was maybe a form of energy source, so similar to like a power plant, because how it is built inside with the chambers, it's like a machine. So when you sort of look at it as a machine, there's all different parts that work together, right? So there's an engineer called John Cadman who sort of built a small-scale model of the pyramid, and when he fed water into the subterranean chamber, it caused like a reaction in that chamber. So what would happen is the water would bypass the valve, and then the valve would slam shut, and it would cause a shock wave up the pyramid below the king's chamber. And the king's chamber is basically a freestanding sort of granite-tuned room that would cause a shock wave and resonate a specific frequency. So that granite is actually used the same as like microphones or telephones and that sort of stuff. That granite is used in that sort of stuff, which vibrates.
Transistors?
Sound. Like, and that emits electrons, right? So this is what they had 4,000 years ago, which is what the way they built. So this is a guy built a small scale model of this, and he said this possibly could be a reason why it happened. But why would you have a full room of granite underneath a subterranean chamber which made this noise, which resonated, which made a certain frequency? So people think, well, was it a satellite? Was it making this frequency to connect and speak to someone above who basically told them to build the pyramids, to build it for this specific reason? Which I just found strange. Like, I just found really strange that he actually built a small scale model of it, and he ran it, and it did this sort of thing, right? But that's what's the pyramids are like inside, with the chambers, the subterranean chambers. But then there's also the argument, well, they found other chambers which they don't know what they're used for yet. They found other tunnels in the pyramids which they've only recently found in this past sort of like 20, 30 years. So was it used for that, or was it just used for a sort of
Big fuck
like
pad.
I say, for the yeah, exactly, a big shag pad.
Big Paul's fuck pad.
Fuck pad. Just littered with transistors,
No, but it's
right?
like especially if it's something that's not super obvious. I mean, if you didn't know what cars were and you came across a car, you could probably figure out what it's for. But if it's something that's weirdly shaped, full of these weird chambers, you just have to trial and error stuff with it to try and figure out what it's for, because it's just so obscure.
Yeah, but if that car appears in a society that doesn't have the wheel, that's fucking weird. What the fuck?
Yeah,
is
but
that
it wouldn't take very long, because if you messed with it a bit, you'd push it and realize it moves. So then you realize that because there's a space inside, you can get inside and you move. Like it wouldn't be hard to put 2 and 2 together, I guess. But with a pyramid that's just there in the middle of a desert with rooms inside, you're like, what's this for? Like,
hang on,
it's not.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, because McLeod can't say that because he just spent half an hour telling us that we got this random ship that we've never seen before and we made computers out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Dr. Lucy,
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
And there's actually a theory about pi, but I did the maths and it didn't work out, so I didn't mention it because it's not right. But basically, what people believe is it says here, so it's 481 foot high and it's 56 foot wide. That's all like how long the pyramid is, okay, on one side and how high it is. So the base of the area is about 5.5 acres, so it's nearly perfect 90 degrees angles on each side. It says which I believe you couldn't have done to the era and the time of the build with the math what they had. But someone basically said if you divide the perimeter of the pyramid by twice the height, it results to the number of pi to the 15th digit. But that's wrong, because I did the maths and it was like way off. I was like, okay, that's not right. So that's not a fact. But for someone to think of that, and I was like, okay, that can't be right. So I got the numbers and I did it, but it was wrong. But she mentioned pi earlier, so I just thought I'd mention it. But she also mentioned a documentary as well, what I need to watch, which apparently is going to blow my mind about the aliens. But
I think
it's just a bit weird. When I was like researching about it, like there's obviously other theories from a guy called Mr. Christopher Dunsk, who said that the pyramids were sending out a microwave signal to like a satellite. But he has studies of a working device showing that it could have possibly worked, but there's no sort of concrete evidence of him having that working and it being used. But again, there's all these different sort of avenues you think it could be used for. And it's like, well, if it was done nearly 4,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, and if that's what it was built for, like what, do they know something that we didn't know? Did something get lost in translation? Like there's hieroglyphics of like people with like laptops, and there's like a spaceman outside of a church, which was done like fucking, I don't know, 2,000 years ago. There's also like one of a helicopter and a plane, what you see like hieroglyphics of what people have chiseled into like the walls and stuff.
No way.
And it's like,
is there really?
How do they know what?
No
Yeah, like how do they know what? Like there's an image of like a car which looks like a car basically, but obviously that was like in Egyptian times, and it's like. Why? Like, why did they do all this? Did they just have a massive prediction of the future at the time? Did somebody come down and tell them to build it? Was it just all coincidence? But there's just a lot of things that line up, which are a bit like, well, it can't have all been coincidence, because that's a massive coincidence if that's the case, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, that's my pyramid research, what I've done. You all fire away. Oh, thank you.
Excellent.
I want to thank my mom, my dad.
McLeod, off the fence time. What's your thoughts on the old pyramids? Yeah.
What are my thoughts on I think the Egyptians were probably actually quite a lot more advanced than we know. That's what
I believe that too.
Yeah, I believe that too. I think the Orion's belt thing is totally true. I think, well, not true. It just is true. Like if you do the maths, it lines up at the time with what Orion's belt looked like. I can totally believe some pharaoh being so self-centered, like, I'm going to make these fucking pyramids because they look cool, that line up with that shit. Wait, how many days are in a year? And he says, oh, yes, we've just invented a gadget. It's 365 and a quarter. Great. We want to make them 365 and a quarter, 1,000 cubits long. And it's just this huge, big grandeur thing. Okay.
I will always be remembered.
To remember the discovery of the year.
I will always be remembered for that. And so I don't think we know how advanced they were.
I also
have
to. A lot of it got lost in history, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have to accept that that extra advancement could well have been due to aliens. Possibly.
Yes.
So that's
probably.
me off
But
the fence, but still got my foot on it.
No, I like it. It's a good conclusion.
Right, okay. Ellie, how about you? Thank you for the follow, buddy.
I think it's
I
just
hope
too weird to have something that, I mean, like James was saying, like the triangle is a strong shape. Like it's not like it's unusual, but just for the time that it happened and the drawings and stuff, it's just really weird. It's like the thing that McLeod was talking about. I think that there are more intelligent beings, I guess, that have given us information that we shouldn't have had yet, and then we've had to do the catching up because we don't quite know what it's for or what to do with it, but we've got these vague instructions. And it's weird if you look at all those things as a whole. Like, are they testing us? Like, let's just see if they can do this.
Yeah,
Let's just see if they can do
I
this.
always think
They're trying to bring on our civilization somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did they give us the knowledge like 4,000 years ago, thinking that, right, this is the knowledge we're going to give you. This is like time travel. This is like the speed of light. And then now they've seen us like 4,000 years down the line and we've turned into such fucking idiots. They're like, well, no, we're not coming back. If we come back,
And what we
do you know what I mean?
it, yeah.
As
I
a
think the
race,
other
we have
thing-
stupid as fuck.
Sorry, I know I've had my time, but I'm fucking
Go
coming
for it.
back. Whatever.
No.
Then you get
I also have to accept that humans are a bit fucking stupid. Like, and this is what I'm going to base it on. So, Romans come along. It's great. We have running water. We have fucking aqueducts. Life's good. We have running toilets. Okay. And then with them leaving, and because it's a culture change and it's not our culture, we all fucking turn around and go, I liked it better when we were shitting in holes, and we go back to shitting in holes for the dark ages.
Yeah.
Humans are weird, and that and I can accept that lots of the technologies of ancient Egypt were just lost because whoever was next went, I don't want this fucking
Nah,
compass.
shit.
Shows me
I-
exactly
I-
what fucking Orion looks like.
Yeah.
Who wants that? I'm gonna go shit in my hole.
Yeah, literally.
Well,
But it's weird you
I
get like these sort of the skills of like the horses and stuff. But anyway, carry on.
no
Steve.
man, it's cool. I think it was full blown aliens. Full blown fucking
think?
aliens. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Blown.
Full blown
Okay.
aliens. In fact, there was only
Loads of
like
balls.
6 people that were living there, and those 6 guys were just sitting in a tent, and they were like,
So why do I get the feeling that they are just the opposite of whatever we think collectively?
it was just aliens. Like,
Sisters was so fucking out there. But fucking all of the pyramids being made by aliens is totally kosher. It's now fact.
Yeah.
and listen,
I'm really upset.
I know because I was there. No, right. So my theory is it was exactly that. They just turned to each other and were like, "Big man, let's just fuck with them for a bit." Or it was some sort of
Yeah.
beacon that was as if to be like, maybe what they do is these aliens are traveling around all over the place, right? Looking at different worlds, and they came to ours and they were like, yeah, this is a bit of a shithole just now. They're not very advanced. Oh, chuck a pyramid
Yeah.
on it so we know we've been here.
Yeah, it's like a landmark. Like,
Yeah,
oh, we'll come check in like 10,000
how they
years to see
put
how they're
little
doing, like-
things on pigeons, right? You know how they put things on pigeons, you know when they
Yeah.
fly away, so they
Wait,
can.
what?
You know how they track
Yeah.
birds? They put things around their
Oh,
feet.
like
Keep coming
like
back
the
to
little
small
circle.
animals.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah. So they can track
Carry
animals
on.
and shit, right? So I think that's what they've done, and that's what the pyramid is. It's just like boom. It's just so they can, when they fly past again, they're like, we've been here, and they're like, fuck. Oh well, since we're here, do you want to go and
Yeah, we're
anally
going back
probe
there
some
again.
American? Yeah, all right, we'll go do that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, go ahead.
I-
Yeah, one day it's going to happen. One day it's just
I
like loads of
actually
aliens are just going to
I
appear
actually
over
just
there.
watched one of those
It's like-
unsolved crime
I
things
seen
that's
that.
to do with people getting abducted or whatever in the 60s. Was it 69
Was it on
or something like
Netflix?
that? Yeah, Netflix.
They were like, yeah, we were just sitting in my car, and then we all woke up
Yep.
3 hours later, and my bum was sore, and my granny was in the passenger seat, and my mommy was in the boot, and we didn't know,
He
and I had,
literally lays on the floor. It's like, I was laid out on the floor like this.
and I couldn't move.
It's like, I turned to my right like this. Like, he reenacts the whole thing. It's so cute.
You're like, mother-
I'm not saying he's a liar.
I
at
am.
all. You can if you
That
want.
motherfucker
I
lying through
think
his
it's
teeth.
very
Lies.
strange
That guy got a Netflix
because
show.
No, but it wasn't just him though. There was a bunch of them, wasn't there? And like, it was weird that a few of the radio, like the radio station, broadcast it, but don't keep the broadcasts. But all of the news places and stuff, all the way in the area, did not publish the story of all these people coming out and saying something happened. We saw something in the sky. Like 1 minute we were in one place, then we don't remember, and we were in a room full of kids, and then we appeared somewhere else. And it's weird that it wasn't publicized.
Exactly.
And then, you know, the one thing that made me, I was like, this is a load of bullshit. Like, I was not believing it at all. And the one thing that made me think, was just like a couple of people that were talking about it. Obviously, that guy was very passionate on his story. But the other people, like, there was a lady that was like, I'm 85 or whatever. Like, what have I got to, like, why would I lie about it? Like, what have I got to gain from this? Like, you know, I'm nearly fucking dead soon, kind of thing. Like, why would she bother
A Netflix quote.
agreeing with it, talking about it? Yeah, so it's just weird. It's weird.
Well, there's a guy who worked in like Area 51, and like before he's on his deathbed, he had like these pictures of aliens and UFOs and stuff. He's like, yeah, I was there, I worked for it, like, you know. And then he died, obviously. But a lot of people was just like, well, is that real? Like, was he doing it? But there's a lot of compelling evidence. He was like, yeah, I worked there for like 30 years. Like, I saw some real, like, how do you think smartphones came about? You know what I mean? Like, how do you think all this technology just suddenly advanced in the past 20 years that we can now speak to everyone across the world and everything's on our phone and we can do this? And it's like going from, you know, Snake to like literally doing this sort of
What
stuff.
are you saying, McLeod? What are you saying?
I'm just saying it was Transistors. That's what I'm saying. That's where the big fucking jump was.
No, bullshit. It was Nokia.
What you said was
Nokia
relevant.
were like,
Well
listen,
done.
they were just sitting in Finland, right?
Making paper, bearing in mind, that's what Nokia was, a fucking company making paper.
Nintendo were
Carry
a
on.
card game company.
Really?
Nintendo made
Nokia
Nintendo
was
made
paper.
playing
Shit.
cards before they made computers. Around about when? Transistor time, baby. Nintendo were in on it.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
You know,
that's you need.
I like alien ones. Right, my turn.
I like alien ones. Okay.
Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Right, before you begin, I'm just gonna get a drink. I'm just gonna pop. You carry
You
on,
grab.
mate,
No,
with 2
no,
minutes.
it's sorry. I'll give you a second.
Yeah, I might quickly dip
You
as
go
well.
and grab
I'll
a
be
drink.
listening to that.
I'm going to
Okay.
talk to Ellie. Right? No, it's fine. They fucked off.
Mine's just because I don't want to get up.
Exactly. I've got my bottle of Jack with me. Right.
I'm gonna see
While
if
we're
I
here,
can
chat.
get another wine.
Tell me, right, chat. What's your thoughts on the whole alien pyramid thing? Right. What's your thoughts on the whole alien pyramid thing? Have we discovered aliens in the first place? Discovered aliens. Do you know what I mean? Have we encountered aliens? Haven't we encountered
Turtle
aliens?
wants to know why is it only Americans?
Well,
get an
that was a
alien
good point.
project?
I think it's because they're the only ones that ever complain about it. You only ever see them. You never see some like guy that's like.
It's just because British people are tight asses.
You never see a. You never see a guy. You never see some French boy though, do you? You never see some French boy who's like, oh hello. I was walking down the Champs Elysees and then I was pinned to the floor by some beam of light and then a probe went in my bottom.
Apologies if Saruk is offending any French people. Right now.
It's all right. Don't worry.
TOS.
I'll just speak in my Scottish accent and folk will go, oh, that's lovely again, and it'll be fine. Don't worry. It's okay.
Yeah,
That's when I lost it.
Champs Elysees. Hey, don't worry. Listen. In my story, we'll have all sorts of accents, right?
Oh, great.
Right, I'm ready. I'm prepared.
You playing every
I'm like-
accent?
If you want,
I'm ready to go.
ladies and gentlemen,
With accents.
Act 1, scene 1, go.
my story is a sordid tale and a sad tale. I am going to delve into the tragic death of the People's Princess, Lady Diana Spencer, Princess of
Diana.
Wales,
It's still so fresh.
and was she turned into jam by her father-in-law.
Oh my god. Dude.
We do like our job.
So,
Too
I
soon.
wonder why.
for those that really don't know much, or they just know bits and pieces, Diana, Princess of Wales, one-time future queen, mother to future king. Was this a fate handed down by the intelligence services in the monarchy? Was it murder, or was it just spectacular misadventure? What were the bright flashes that happened in the tunnel? Why did it take nearly 2 hours to get her to hospital? Why didn't they even take her to the nearest hospital? Why was the other car involved never found? Let alone the disputed physical evidence. Who were the 2 shadowy black men that were also in the tunnel, inspecting the car after the crash, then disappeared and never to be found again?
Men in Black.
So was this an order from on high by our reptilian overlords?
Guys, I didn't know we were supposed to make a speech.
Or was it a drunk driver? It's my show, I'll do big speeches. You can make big speeches.
We love you.
This, ladies and gentlemen, was the 9/11 of car crashes. So Diana Frances Spencer was born on the 1st of July, 1961. She had a pretty good upbringing, right? Let's not gonna lie. She wasn't poor, okay? She was from... She did all right for herself, okay? Drunk fucking driving. She done pretty well for herself. She was from a very well thought after family. And she was quite high up in the old British, what's the word? Class system, if you like. Okay? Yeah. She hung around with dukes and earls and princes and whatnot. And she actually married...
And ladies.
Yep. She actually married Prince Charles on the 21st of July, 1981 at St. Paul's Cathedral. However...
How old was she?
Sorry?
How old was she?
When she got married, she was 20.
I didn't know
20.
20.
Yeah,
I knew she was young.
She just turned 20.
Yeah. That is young, isn't it?
Funnily enough, more actually turned up to watch... more turned up for the funeral, but less watched it live. Anyway. However, the funny thing was, she was not the initial member of that family, the Spencer family, that was due to marry Prince Charles. Oh no. Sarah, Diana's sister, was initially betrothed to Charles, if you like. Sarah Spencer was dating Charles, was with Charles, and then for some unknown reason, things sort of shifted towards Diana. I mean, you could probably say Sarah dodged a pillar there. So, moving on.
Oh, I just got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now
that was good.
Oh, I did a blonde moment there, what I always do, and I was like, no.
What?
Oh.
Diana and Charles's relationship was strange. So, and that's unfortunate. Or, yeah, well, it was unfortunate. But it's very poignant to the story as a whole, because their relationship and their marriage was not your typical marriage. You can imagine everything that's going on. You are in the spotlight. You can't move. You can't do anything. Your whole world is decided for you. And you're with a man that's, let's say, not been raised like your regular grammar school kid, right? His mum's the queen, right? It's weird.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
You know, he goes to strip clubs and puts pictures of his mum down people's pants. You know, that's weird. Princess Diana was very open about what she would say and discuss about her marriage. She had an interview with Andrew Morton, and these are all available on YouTube. And they discussed lots of things, including their sex life, which she described as twas odd. Twas odd.
Okay. Odd as in like BDSM odd, or because that's not.
Yeah, as in like
almost non-existent with him thinking of another woman.
Well, that's pretty much spot on. However, Andrew Martin didn't go into more detail about that, which I wish he fucking did. I would be like, wait.
Content, bro. Give me content.
What do you mean odd? Like, are you saying that he's like, hello, get 15 marbles in a funnel, and I will insert each of them into you and get 17 rubber bands for my testicles.
It's quite odd.
17 rubber bands for my testicles and a bat. You know, like stuff like that. Like,
I'm ready.
Look what I can do with this threepence.
But when you think it's probably just some...
I'm ready for coitus.
I'm ready for coitus. But you know it's just going to be some sweaty old man on top of her, not really...
breathing.
Yeah, heavily. Hey, yes. Right. Oh, that's going to get clipped, isn't it? What she said was... Now, this is a quote from Diana. She says, there was no requirement for sex, from his case, sort of once every 3 weeks, and I kept thinking it followed a pattern. He used to see his lady once every 3 weeks before we got married. His lady being... Horsey face herself, Camilla Parker Bowles. Now, don't get me wrong. He was banging Camilla.
Of course he was.
He was banging everybody, right? He was banging everybody.
Why were they banging him? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Because he got money, baby.
Why?
Because he's the future king, perhaps.
But she was also
Literally.
I don't care who the hell he is. There's just no way.
But it was
no.
You got a big ass dick.
on both sides though. It was ferocious. Like she was just anywhere she could go, she would be getting like 4 yards of cock everywhere. Like she was also doing it, right? This wasn't just on one side.
4 yards.
Yeah, but yeah, she's a princess. Okay,
Do we have that in qubits?
we'll get it. We'll get it measured in transistors.
It's about 3 years.
She was
in
banging.
bed,
She was banging
30
James
years.
Hewitt. She was banging a lot of people. There was a very. There was a moment in Diana and Charles's relationship that really affected Diana a lot, and she actually had a bodyguard called Barry Manicky, and
What is it, Barry Metal?
Barry Manicky, and Barry Manicky was very, very close with Diana, and they were strongly suspected to be having an affair. He was then moved off Diana's service, and 3 weeks later died in a suspicious motorcycle accident.
Suspicious.
He died in a suspicious motorcycle accident. Now, Diana had since came out and actually said that she thought he was bumped off, that she thought that he was murdered. And it was from that point that she started to think that she was not safe with, as she described them, that fucking family. I sounded more like the Queen there, didn't I?
Nice. That fucking
Yes.
So eventually this rolled on, and she wrote a letter to Paul Burrell, who's a dirty bollocks, isn't he?
Dirty bollocks.
He's a dirty bollocks. Like, Paul Burrell was... For those who don't know who Paul Burrell is, he was the original simp, right? He simped hard over Diana,
OG
right?
simp.
OG simp. Butler simp, Paul Burrell.
OG sim.
And so Diana wrote a letter to Paul Burrell.
Can we just now call them Paul Burrells from now on? I don't want to ever hear the word simp again.
We're going to call him OG simp from now on. It's like...
OG sim.
Right. Yeah, so Paul Burrell
OG Simpson.
received... Yeah, exactly. If the glove don't fit... So Mr. Burrell received a letter
The Simp God.
where Diana explained where she thought, this was 10 months before she died, by the way, that she thought she was going to be gotten rid of. Okay? Where she pretty much said that she thought it was going to be an accident of some sort, and that it was going to be the family that done it. And it was all so Charles can be with Twiggy. Right? Twiggy
Okay.
was a nickname for not Horsey Face Camilla, but for their nanny.
Oh.
Okay, so apparently, their nanny was what is seen to be and regarded by many as the love of Charles's life. Is he not Camilla? Diana called Camilla.
Yeah, he was banging Camilla and banging Diana. Like, what?
She called, or was it
Okay.
Tiggy or Twiggy? Hang on, I think it might be Tiggy.
Twiggy the supermodel.
Not Twiggy the supermodel.
Lucy says.
It was the nanny. It was their nanny.
That's what I thought. I was
Yeah,
like,
no.
Twiggy.
It was
was
their
like, what?
nanny.
She's as well.
And they did have. Hang on, I think it's Tiggy. Tiggi, not Twiggy. Tiggy. And
Big old bitty.
Handsome as Tiggy sleeveless list.
that was a nanny. Okay. Now, one thing that really that pissed off the royal family. Okay, that really set things off was when Tiggy and Charles had an affair. Allegedly, Tiggy got pregnant and had an abortion. Okay.
Ooh.
Diana, in full view of the public at a public engagement, about 10 weeks later or so, walked up and says, "I'm so sorry about the baby." With the Queen
Oh,
there,
no.
Charles there, in front of lots of guests,
Everyone like,
everybody there. The Queen was raging. She was off.
Of course she was.
That bloody woman!
oh, but
Philip, get the Land
That's your
Rover!
it's like a
best
theatre.
version of Liz
It's
ever.
like the theatre. I love it.
That's what
I
happened.
love it. He's behind you.
Can we have sock puppets next time like that?
Right?
Yes.
Absolute
We
fuming.
demand the sock puppets.
Absolutely fuming. Which you can
Favourite
understand.
Charles, you total tosser.
Because as you can understand, because you think about the royal family and how they are, how prim and proper, and how they want to be seen in a certain light. this shit doesn't go down well. Next step, Diana goes on a bit of a bender. And she goes back to just 4 yards of cock wherever she can. Okay? Now,
I think Lucy said she was banging James Hewitt.
she was
100%
allegedly
Harry's
banging
dad.
James Hewitt. I mean, he looks a bit like... I mean, allegedly on the James...
Who's James Hewitt?
He was a
Harry's dad.
ginger guy. So...
Okay. Ooh.
Called Saruk.
Yeah,
Okay.
so...
Hey, Saruk.
God, yeah.
Called
Yeah.
Saruk.
So basically, the thing with James Hewitt...
All of a sudden,
James Hewitt and Harry were very close.
Window, we know we got it right, okay?
James Hewitt and Harry were really, really close. And apparently James Hewitt was the reason that Harry actually joined the army.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he like convinced him and he wanted to be more like him. Apparently that was a really big deal. They were really, really close. Diana tended to take, I think James Hewitt taught our kids polo, if I remember. And that was obviously, she used to take her kids to places where she could then bang their coaches, you know, or their trainers in some way. She couldn't just sneak off to parks in the middle of the night and just like, you know, she had to be like, I'm taking the kids here, Charles, it's fine. And then we'd be banging Hewitt in the bus or something. Anyway, as we'll skip on a little bit. And the divorce came.
Getting graphic.
The divorce came. The Queen was the one that was like, divorce, right? So they got divorced, and they went their separate ways. We'll skip to July 1997. Okay. In July 1997, Diana met a man called Ahmad El Din Mohammed Abdel Minamin Faid, or Dodi.
Well, 10 out of 10 for that.
Dodi's a lot easier to say than...
I would have just gone with Dodi.
Dodi's a lot easier to say than Ahmad El Din Mohammed Abdel Minamin Faid. Okay, I might have pronounced some of that wrong, and I'm well sorry, right?
10 out of 10.
Yeah, thank you. It was only 7 weeks.
Would pronounce again.
It was only 7 weeks before the crash. Okay.
What was the name again?
Ahmad El Din Mohammed Abdel Minamin Faid.
I didn't expect the accent to come with it.
Oh,
dear.
Is that 12 out of 10 there? Thanks, guys. Thanks.
12 out
Fucking
of
love
10.
it.
12 out of 10.
Well, I need 12 back. Great, I need a new emote.
So 7 weeks later, now Diana went on parties with this boy. She was on boats. She was like looking over the shoulder at the paps, like, hey, you know, like getting her photos taken in a wee leopard skin thing, looking absolutely tidy, right? Giving it big licks. So she was. 7 weeks later, August 31st, 1997.
Oh,
The 36-year-old People's Princess died after hitting a white Fiat Uno and then crashing into the 13th pillar of the Pont de Alma tunnel. Alma Bridge tunnel.
What cast to hit? Jesus.
Okay, so she hit the 13th pillar. She left the Ritz Hotel with herself, Dodi, her driver Henri Paul, and their bodyguard, whose name I forget, but I've got it somewhere. I'll get to that. Don't worry. I'll get to the bodyguard. Oh, I will. They left in their black Mercedes S280, followed by 2 mopeds and 2 sort of pretty powerful motorbikes. They then sped down the road, I guess. I'm not going to direct you the whole way. And then they got to the tunnel. Now, this tunnel is an accident black spot, okay? There's like a 6% decline in the tunnel, and then it sort of slightly veers to the left as you come down, okay? And your wheels will sort of lift off the ground. It's kind of known that to get round that tunnel at speed, you kind of have to turn left and quickly to the right, okay? To keep yourself...
Okay.
Right? So it's a notorious black spot. First thing, that was not the quickest way to their destination. The quickest way to their destination was in fact blocked off by a random static car that was just parked in the middle of a road, which stopped them turning down the street that would have led them the straight line to their destination, and instead they had to turn to go down the tunnel.
Why, yeah. What? Just a random car?
Yep. One thing about their Mercedes S280 The week before, it was stolen. It was stolen and returned the day before, untouched. Apart from one thing. The computer chip was missing.
Transistors.
The computer chip was missing from the Mercedes. Okay? Now, you might kind of suggest, well, that's a bit weird, right? This is what this whole story is about. There's just far too many things that are just a bit weird to it. Now, that computer chip going missing, you kind of think, well, all right, maybe people were literally farming computer chips for some reason. They were like maybe stolen to order for a variety of reasons. Who knows what. The problem is, this is actually a well-established assassination technique from the 1980s, right? Developed by the British SAS. It's actually named the Boston Brakes, which involves steering, braking, and acceleration capabilities being taken over by remote control.
What?
That is, it's a well-known, and it has actually been used. Now you're going to like this name. Famous explorer and former SAS officer Ranulph Fiennes, everybody, did actually confirm that that was used as an assassination method, actually in England, to a Major Michael Marnham, and it bears an uncanny resemblance to what happened to Diana. Mercedes-Benz were also denied access to the vehicle after the crash. But that could possibly be for another reason afterwards as well. Mercedes-Benz, or it was actually Daimler-Benz, not Mercedes, it was Daimler-Benz were denied access to the vehicle after the crash. Now, allegedly, the car hit the pillar in the neighbourhood of, this is in the official report, 120 miles per hour. So for our kilometres per hour friends, it's 192 kilometres per hour.
That's ridiculously fast to be going through a tunnel. Like, it was especially with Diana in the car. Like,
Right.
Yeah, but it's Party Diana.
Party Diana. Now.
Still, but you would, go the speed limit.
Dr. Lucy, I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you. Couple of things about it. One, a Mercedes engineer has actually come out since and said, actually, when you look at the car, and you everybody's seen the car, right? You've seen how it's crumpled. He actually says it's not as bad as you think. That's not as bad a crash as you think. It's designed to crumple that way. The engine at the front is designed to drop and go underneath the front two seats in order to make sure that they don't get, right? Okay. He says, and this is a Mercedes engineer, that car hit that pillar in the region of between 60 to 70 miles per hour. There's no way that car hit that pillar at 120 miles an hour. If it did, the car would be split in half. He's like, he helped design the thing, and he's like, there is no way. That's not what happened. Also, the fact that two of the mopeds actually managed to catch up to the car. If it was going at 120 miles an hour, no fucking moped is catching that, right?
Them quick mopeds.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's again dragged.
Hairdryer on wheels.
There was a motorbike that was not a paparazzi motorbike that was there also. It was ahead of the vehicle, and there are loads of witnesses to this that said that a really bright, like flashbang-esque light came off the back of that car, back of that motorbike when they entered the tunnel. And from there, the car, like just as they entered, and from there the car spun out. Okay? After that, plenty of witnesses to say this. Two men got off the motorbike. One man went and started like ushering paparazzi to the side, moving them to the side, herding them if you like, while the other actually went to the door of the car, the driver's side door. Now they know that he opened the door and that he'd done something inside because the horn was actually going, all right? When they crashed into the pillar, obviously Henri Paul's Sparko on the bonnet, Sparko on the horn. They say that Henri Paul was moved. Something went on in there for about 10 seconds. The door was shut. A signal was given by that man to the other guy standing herding paparazzi in other cars. They got back on their motorbike and left. They were never seen again.
Wow.
There's loads of theories about what these guys were doing. loads of thoughts about what these guys were doing. Were they injecting Henri Paul with alcohol? Were they removing something from the car itself?
Evidence, maybe.
What were they doing there?
Mm.
So again, another that's weird. Something else about the journey there as well. There's actually no CCTV evidence. There was an
What? Not.
the whole route was out for maintenance that night.
It's convenient.
Yeah, convenient.
Okay.
It hadn't been before that. They hadn't needed to take that whole section down. Another thing, for the first time that locals can remember, the lights inside the tunnel were off. So lots of things that are a bit strange, okay? Lots of things that are a bit strange. Now, after we'll get back to the trip to the hospital in a second. But we'll get back to the driver. Initially, it was drunk driver, right? That's what everybody says, drunk driver. They initially said that Henri Paul was 3.5% over the limit and had, now, clever people in the chat will know this is a bit weird, and had 20% CO2 in his blood.
Okay.
That's fucked up.
What does that mean?
If you had 20% carbon dioxide in your blood, right, you're barely going to be able to stand, right?
Yeah, because that's not right. Those ratios are really
it's
wrong.
mad, right? Now this was given by the person that done the test was Dominique Leconte, and she made a right Leconte of this. This is what was this.
I was like, who's gonna say something?
I was waiting.
I was like, Toast, it's gonna be you.
It was obvious that these figures then went to the press, and it was like drunk drivers killed our people's princess, all that sort of stuff. Okay. What was actually found later, that blood was actually taken from a wrong person. It was done. It was a French guy that had got drunk. Yep, the theory is that she was assassinated as opposed to a crash. It was these blood samples were taken by a French guy that got drunk and set fire to his house, and his house burnt down. That explains the high alcohol in his system and the carbon dioxide level. Okay, that was proven that happened, and those blood results were mixed up.
Was the obviously on purpose? It seems like, but it got found out, so they sort of backtracked, saying, "No, it was a mistake. Sorry."
They tried to suggest that Henri Paul was like a rabid alcoholic, like he was never out of the pub. You know, he was always steaming, he was always here, he was always there. The thing was, a couple of days before, Henri Paul had actually passed a flying exam and had a medical and showed no signs of alcohol abuse at the time.
What?
Yeah. Now, another strange thing, just this again, there's a lot of just strange things that we'll try and put together, okay? But another strange thing about Henri Paul was he actually asked his dad for a lend of the equivalent to around about £1,000, okay, to help set up a car rental business, because he didn't have that much money, allegedly. His wage equated to around about 20,000 of today's money, around about £20,000 sterling. Okay, which isn't a lot, you know, considering you're driving around the People's Princess, right? So he was asking for money for this. After he died, they actually found allegedly 15 bank accounts with a total in around £170,000 that had been put in it days before. So a lot of people think that Henri Paul had strong connections to the intelligence services, to possibly MI6 and other services that will have these sorts of capabilities. His parents strongly refute this and say there is no way that he knew that he had this money. You know what I mean? That this has been planted there to make him look like a patsy. There was a white Fiat Uno that collided with the car, and that collision led it to spin out and hit the pillar. They never found that white Fiat Uno. Now, some of you might have gone, actually, yeah, they did. It was one of the paparazzi guys had a white Fiat Uno. He did have a white Fiat Uno, but it was actually a different Fiat Uno, which they found out because of the paint. The paint was a different type of paint. They have very specific paint reference numbers, which are almost different for each time cars roll off the production line, for every batch, if you like, they've got a different paint number, which they can match up,
Yeah.
so they know where it came from.
Oh yeah.
And it had a different one, basically. So no, they never did find the Fiat Uno. They thought they did, but they don't know where that went.
Like, how can you just get rid of a full car? Like, if it was part of the accident, like, and it just wasn't there, like, what? Like, you can't just move, like, especially that quick. Especially, well, as you say, like, paparazzi were there. Surely they must have seen it, but
You'd have thought so. There was, I think it's something, Vincent Tan. Oh no, wait, I think he owns Cardiff Football Club.
it was him.
There was a I was like, I think I got that name.
Start pulling names
I
out
think
of
his
hat,
surname
mate,
is
you know.
Tan.
We're lapping this up.
But they think possibly
John Wick.
matched this Fiat Uno because he did have a white Fiat Uno that he then got spray painted red the day after. So he was a potential. So far, what we've got here, guys, is a princess that is dating and possibly marrying, or alleged to be going to be getting engaged to a Muslim, which the Queen didn't like. They don't like those Muslims. They don't like those Muslims.
Oh, of course you don't.
And also is a source of major. She's also a source of major embarrassment to the royal family. They have been known to have threatened her in the past. There has been allegations that they have murdered people in the past to protect their image. We now have a car that has been tampered with previously, that has been forced down a certain street, that has then been intercepted by a strange bike, and has then been forcibly crashed into the 13th pillar of the Pont Amal tunnel. Now, I'm not saying that this is MI6. A lot of people are saying that it could be a rogue element of MI6. You know, like a kind of, I was going to say right wing, but you know what I mean, a more fringe rogue element. Even though she was the only even though she was the only one people actually like, you are right. I mean, I like Harry.
Well, that's
Harry's all right, like.
All right as well. You know, like
Harry's a
The Queen
lad.
has Muslim roots.
like,
In '97, did they?
Sorry.
I just think the monarchy's fucked, man. I don't think we need
So
it.
what we've also got.
I know it's Torres.
Yeah, I mean, it's a waste of money, isn't it? Now, we've then got the ambulance. The ambulance, or the SAMU, as they call them in France. Now, a SAMU is...
Could we have that in the accent, please?
SAMU.
That was everything I needed it to be.
SAMU.
The need for the coming.
Les SAMU. The way they see it in France, though, is it's almost like they're like rolling operating theaters. Okay, like they can perform surgery in the back of these things, allegedly. Now, when they got to the scene, Diana was actually still alive. She was still alive, chilling. It took them 43 minutes to get her out of the car. Even though apparently the paparazzi had already opened the door and were helping her out at the time, but they put her back. I can get that. They can be like, no, wait, let's just make sure.
Yeah, like
we're not 45 minutes. It took them.
That's a really long time.
It took them a further 70 minutes. It took them a further 70 minutes to leave the scene, and a further 40 to 50 minutes to get to the hospital.
That's bullshit.
They even stopped for 15 minutes outside the hospital before they went in. Now, there's people that have witnessed this and said the ambulance was going at an exceptionally slow pace to the hospital. They were talking 20 to 25 miles an hour. Now, the way that the French driver, Michel Masseboeuf, Michel Masseboeuf says, hey, we look after people, princess. They were going slow because they were actually trying to, allegedly, perform to assist her in the back.
CPR.
And also they actually said that if they had went at the speed they wanted to go to, with the nature of her injuries, how blood pressure works, is they didn't want the blood sloshing around inside and essentially making her have a stroke. That's pretty much their excuse, right? They thought they could injure her more if they went fast.
What about all the other car accidents, though? With people getting rushed to hospital?
Now, if there's been anybody that's lived in France here in the chat that's maybe witnessed ambulance that goes at like 20 miles an hour to get somebody somewhere, yeah, give us a shout, right?
Oh, I've spent enough time in
Let us
France
know.
to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Fucking, they're as mad as the rest
I've
of them.
been
Actually,
to
as far as
Paris a
driving
couple
goes,
of
it is
times.
pretty
I've
bad.
never seen a slow
No.
ambulance.
But this is how long it took together. They actually went to the furthest possible hospital as well. They didn't go to the nearest hospital, and it was not down to the capabilities of that hospital. And actually, far superior hospital was nearby. That they,
So what was their
What?
excuse then?
they never gave one.
But
Wow.
that could have been security.
Potentially.
If
Yeah,
Yeah, but she's gonna die. Fuck security.
she's already
you should have
pretty
enough
insecure,
security there.
right? She's already, as I
get her
said
to
earlier,
a fucking
Yeah.
hospital.
turned into marmalade. You know,
Ridiculous.
pretty much.
she
I'm just offering the
Yeah,
excuse
no,
that
no.
they a potential excuse that they didn't.
again
suggest.
the
That's it.
thing with this story is
Put the helmet on.
there are just there's a lot of that's a bit weird, right? Does this
Yeah.
build a whole story or a whole narrative? Is all of this related, and is all this maybe not? But there's just too much to sort of think that this is normal. Now, on average, it takes to get to that furthest away hospital. Okay, at peak traffic times, it should take them 11 minutes. Okay, 11 minutes,
This is gonna annoy me. Go on.
right? And as I say, it took 50.
Cool.
Right? 50,
50?
50 at 4 in the morning.
Was the push in the fucking ambulance? Jesus Christ. What was the doing?
Wait, so are we saying that somebody paid the ambulance crew, or the ambulance crew had personal motives? Was it an ambulance crew?
Oh.
Was it fucking the Royals, mate? Was it the Queen driving the ambulance?
It's
Yeah.
again, it's
She's like, ha, ha,
it could
ha.
very well be. It could very well
We
be
got a bitch.
that there are
We did it.
really legitimate reasons why they went to that hospital, why they took so long, why they went so slow. There could very well be, but that's just one of many other things. Like, what happened to the feet?
It's like you said though. It's all just a bit.
Who were
weird.
these
like,
guys? The only person to
It was aliens.
the only person to survive the crash. The only
They
person
built the pyramids and they killed Diana.
The only person that survived the crash was Trevor Rees-Jones, who's the bodyguard that sat in the front passenger seat, who actually, when interviewed afterwards, was asked, "Why did you have your seatbelt on?" Now, one thing is, Diana didn't have her seatbelt on. Trevor Rees-Jones did have his seatbelt on. If we've got any bodyguards in the chat, rule 1, always make sure that your subject has their seatbelt on. Rule 2, never under any circumstances put your seatbelt on. Because you need to be able to turn around, to get up, to move. If somebody comes into the car, you need to be able to get up and move.
Shoot.
Okay? She didn't have her seatbelt
Yeah.
on. For some reason, he did. Now, there's been a lot of suspicion thrown at Trevor Rees-Jones to being part of it, helping set things up.
Well, yeah,
helping
because
direct
what if
things.
he knew when the hit was going to happen and then just went click? Like
It's just a bit weird. So it's the theories are somebody's asking, is it being put in the royal family? The problem is we don't know. There's just far too many things going about. Could it be rogue elements of MI6 with possible rogue racist elements within MI6 that didn't like the idea of such a public figure being married and possibly pregnant with a Muslim? One of the reasons why we believe she was pregnant was, well, a couple of things. There was an orderly at the hospital that apparently confirmed it. That was heard to say, "Oh my God, I can't believe that," right? When they were talking about that fact that she was pregnant. She was also given a hysterectomy and immediately embalmed.
What?
The body was.
Yeah, no, that doesn't fucking happen. Like, no.
She was given a hysterectomy and immediately embalmed before anybody else got there, before the royal family got there. Charles got
That's
there the next day.
crazy.
Do we have a source for that?
Google it,
Because
mate.
that one's. I know we haven't asked
Yeah,
for sources. but that
I
was
can
just that
provide my sources,
unbelievable.
but yep, she was immediately embalmed and given a hysterectomy.
Okay.
Why the hysterectomy? So it's obviously that then, because there's no other reason. Like, why would they do that?
Get rid of some
There's no.
Muslim baby bits.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying that's the only reason that you can think of. Because why would they do that? Like, there's no other reason they would do that.
So
Surely.
there's all sorts of like crazy theories about why all this happened. Am I giving you this is how it happened and this is who I think done it? No. What I'm giving you guys is a series of strange events that led to the People's Princess dying, and of course it's getting a bit crazy. It's conspiracy theories. And if you're saying MI6, the Queen and Prince Philip, Callum, aren't going to rock up in their Jeep, big man, and be like, Philip, put your foot down. We need to catch the bastards before they get to the tunnel. No, they're going to get their intelligence services to do it. Come on, Fivehead, sort it out. Yeah. Right. Anyway, was it MI6 as a whole? Was the government involved? Was it a big? Probably not. Was it maybe rogue elements that didn't like her, that thought she was a threat for whatever fucking stupid, sad reason? Maybe. There's lots of crazy theories. David Icke has some. Who likes David Icke?
I bet he fucking does.
David Icke, like, in a nutshell, right? So what the UK stands for, so not really good to entertain these theories. What do we stand for? Slavery, brutality, and shit on
I mean,
people?
look at Harry and his relationship now.
What's my opinion?
I don't think the Queen wanted that to happen, and it's a bit weird that they've estranged themselves from the royal family and all that stuff. Don't you think?
You're suggesting that she just couldn't face the idea of pulling the MI6 pin, so it was like, we'll just estrange them. You know, that'll have to do.
Well, with the technology now, and everybody's got a camera phone and all that stuff, I just don't think you could pull something like that off again.
Too many CCTVs.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, that's what we've got. Is we've got this. The CCTV was turned off. The lights were turned off in the tunnel for the first time that locals can ever remember there not being lights in that tunnel because of it being an accident black spot. We've got the fact that Henri Paul's blood was incorrectly tested. We've got the fact that she has just very recently very publicly embarrassed the Queen in a very big way and outed her husband of impregnating another woman. We've got the fact that... Wait, what did I just say there? Yeah, we've got the fact that we couldn't trace certain elements, couldn't confirm certain elements of the crash, such as where did the white Fiat Uno go? Who were the guys on the bikes that were there that allegedly flashed a light? And when I say flashed a light, I'm not just talking like, I'm talking like big flashbang type things. You're saying that Harry and Meghan would try to kill, the Queen would try to kill off Harry / Meghan if they weren't surrounded by tech? Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because
pretty much, yeah.
Because the monarchy has done it ever since. I could say and state my sources, and you can be insulted all you like. I mean, that I don't really give a fuck about. In terms of sources, what we can do is I will certainly, because this will be going up on YouTube, and if you like, I will post links to all my sources, buddy. Not a problem. Insulting? Meh, I'm over it. So we've got.
It just takes a long time to list all your it's just boring.
Yeah. I can give you a bibliography afterwards, buddy. Don't worry about it. There's lots of crazy shit with David Icke and whatnot. But yeah, so it's all a bit fucking crazy, and nobody really knows. What I like to believe personally, right, is that Dodie and Diana are like just got fed up and moved to a private island with Tupac and Michael Jackson. Like that's it. The British papers didn't do much for it. The British papers destroyed Meghan because the British papers are racist and horrible and do anything for views.
Kai's like, I agree with all of this.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right, Callum, as well.
Look at him. He's like, I'm telling you the truth.
There's
Mal.
There's no specific evidence that says it was the Queen or MI6. There's nothing that links specifically, apart from that method of assassination has been used by MI6 before. That's all. Anyway, guys, that's my story. I will leave it to you guys to decide, to figure out, to think about what you believe and what you don't. And we've got a K.
Kai's
I think
like,
it's sort of
it was
relatively.
me.
relatively true, maybe. Like, I feel like there's certain aspects where it could have been. As you say, there's a lot of things like, that's strange. Why has it done that? Like, it's kind of like, yeah, it could happen, but if it did happen, we would never know. As I said, they've got the money to cover it now, haven't they? They've got the money to sort of sort it. But yeah, weird.
There's been a lot of weird ones, guys.
I enjoyed hearing them all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
A lot of weird ones.
What's that? Are we not dismantling this one? Are we also just taking this one as true?
No, go for it.
Oh no, she got assassinated, in my opinion.
Yep.
She did.
Okay.
She did.
Oh, is that what the consensus is for Toast as well? Because I don't actually follow that.
Oh, yeah. I think she did. Yeah.
Foul play. Says
I don't think so at all. I think first of all, the idea of suggesting that. Oh, so I'm not even playing devil's advocate here just to be an arsehole. I don't think she was assassinated. The idea of suggesting that a car crash is a method of assassination, and so it happens. Also, car crashes fucking happen. They just happen all the fucking time. They're fucking deadly things. We shouldn't be in cars, but we kind of have to be. I can also accept that pretty much all of the reasons for the official reasons for the weird time things. I can imagine people rushing over, pulling out the body, realizing it's fucking Diana, completely panicking, stuffing her back in, the ambulance getting there and thinking we need to do everything by the book, boys. We need to get her on the flat thing. We can't move her neck. No one can see us move her neck. We need to use the fucking snippers and take the roof off. I can see that taking 40 minutes easily. And I can also see, because mainly I'm not a paramedic, that there would be a reason for going slow in an ambulance.
Oh, I can buy that.
Especially if you're doing it by the fucking book, because you've all of a sudden realised it's fucking Diana.
If it was Diana, I'd want to get there a hell of a lot quicker.
Yeah, and to be honest, you didn't have me all the way up until the point you say you have a credible source for a hysterectomy, because that's just fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
No,
we'll certainly link that in the YouTube thing. It is weird.
Yeah,
it is weird,
and I'll be interested to read that. But apart from that, and also, could that be explained with a posh family sort of saying we can never have this be a thing? She was assassinated. I agree with McLeod. I somewhat.
Well, see that's the thing about it. It's such a contentious thing. It's such a contentious thing, and it's just, as I said, me personally, I'm kind of with Callum in a bit. Is like, was there something up there? Maybe, yeah. I think there's foul play there. Was it their all family directly? Probably not. Who knows? But was it possibly a rogue element of an intelligence service? These ultra patriotic, nationalistic, racist wankers. And there's stories about these guys before, that for Queen and Country and all this sort of shit. These MI6 guys are fucking knobs, right? They're probably listening to me now, and I don't give a fuck. I'll end up Epstein. But I think that's.
I don't know. It's just weird, isn't it? You can almost imagine like the Queen sort of grumbling about everything that was going on, and then like you said, the Secret Services and stuff being like, "Okay, we understand." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then this mysterious crash happens. I don't think the Queen would ever be like, "Kill her!" Like, I don't think
off with her head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as I say, this is it's
too embarrassing.
These,
she must die. I don't think that happens.
It's one of these conspiracy theories that has sort of been floating around the United Kingdom and the world since it happened, because of how many weird inconsistencies. The car being stolen, the lights being out. All these things that are just a bit odd, that could all be coincidence. They totally could be. Could they also be a bigger plan?
They just My point is just that cars get fucking nicked. Especially in S-Class.
Do S-Classes get...
I'm pretty sure those were the Mercs that you could open with half a tennis ball. Don't fact check me on that. I'm wrong on that.
Do S-Classes get nicked and then returned the day before it's due to be used, unharmed apart from a missing computer chip?
No, but I could see to make the life of Dodale fired and Diana quickly. An S-Class was found by whatever lease company the driver was using, because we don't want to lose your customer.
His name is Emad Eldin Mohammed Abdel Menamin Fayed, by the way.
Yeah. And his dad's name?
That guy that owned Fulham.
Mo. Mo. I don't know. I just...
Again, it's a conspiracy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Surely if you're transporting the princess, you'd switch cars if it got nicked and then returned. But then would the company disclose that that had happened? But then, like, as the company, you wouldn't want to give that car to her, would you? You'd want to find the perfect car.
It was El Fayed's personal driver who worked... Right, so what you'll hear is, you'll hear that Henri Paul was employed by the Ritz. The Ritz was owned by Al Fayed.
Okay.
So it was the same thing. So it was he was employed essentially by Al Fayed. It wasn't an outsourced
Dad
company.
or son, just to be clear.
Sorry? Dad.
The Ritz owned by
his dad.
Yeah. Okay. That's sorry, I didn't have a point.
I was waiting for that. Therefore,
you know,
I don't get right. Is okay if the car crash was just a car crash?
Yeah.
Why did it take that long? I mean, I get that you said, you know, they might scramble and be like, oh shit, we need to do this by the book, but they're like, she fucking dies though, bro. Like, it's on us. Like, you wouldn't go that
people
slow.
Die in the
you wouldn't
States
go
all
to the
time
furthest
because
hospital.
People are scared of being sued.
But what about the hospital thing though? Because if they say they didn't have if they even made the excuse of they don't have capacity, they would make capacity for her, surely. Why would they choose to go to?
Issue. It was a security issue. You know, if her wishes that her security company is based on, that's looking after, is we need a whole fucking floor. That's
but what I'm saying is, they would then turn up, haul ass in there, and be like, fucking evacuate this floor. Like, they wouldn't fanny about ringing hospitals to check if they had an extra floor.
Just shoving the diabetes guys, like, just throw them on the lift, guys.
No,
we'll get them down. We'll have them in the fucking hall.
I'm saying though, you go to where you need to go and you make it secure, don't you? You don't ring around and mess around when someone's dying, especially if they're a princess.
40 minutes while they were cutting her out, in my opinion, to ring around.
No, they don't ring around.
Well,
when these security firms and security companies, when they have priority targets, and especially very important priority targets,
they dictate it prior
this
to.
is already planned out.
It's probably pre-stuff.
This is already planned out. Banantau, it's not. I think you're confusing the UK government with the monarchy and the intelligence services. They're three very different things. The intelligence services may very well be officially working for the government, but there's a lot that can be said for our intelligence. It's like saying that the CIA is working for.
It's like the monarchy owns the country, but the government sort of run it. So the government's like the management.
Yeah.
It's like saying the CIA works for the American government and will always do everything that the American government say, no matter what. The CIA have done some probably pretty nasty shit off their own backs without any sort of governmental approval. You know,
James, it was China.
And China.
I know, right?
The monarchy does not own the government. Yeah, I think you probably need to go and have a little read up on what the monarchy actually does in this country, because it doesn't own the government at all. it has, in fact, the monarchy has.
They're two
the monarchy has
things,
zero power. In fact, over the government, it's all very ceremonial. So even when a prime minister is elected, he has to go to seek approval from the Queen, but that's just ceremonial. Like, the Queen isn't going to say no, and she, to be honest, can't say
Getting
no.
knighted and stuff.
Yeah, it's all ceremonial. Yeah. It's nothing. They don't have any power as such. They just like the, you know, is what it is. You know. But anyway, I knew that one was going to stir up some shit with folk.
Yeah.
I knew that one was going to get some people with a fucking hair.
It was great.
Yeah,
great.
Guys, thank you very much for your time tonight. Sorry, we had a few technical issues halfway through. Chat, don't you worry. I will put some sources in the YouTube video, and I'll put that up in the next couple of days. You guys have been cool. You guys have been great. Thank you very, very much for your time and your input.
Your ears.
Your input's been great.
Thanks for having us.
We will be back,
Love it.
possibly next week, possibly the week after. We'll have a little chat and see what's going on about it with something else. that I kind of have planned, which
Mm.
might be quite fun. And
Ooh.
you guys, anything left to say from you three lovely people?
It was all aliens.
Ladies first.
Definitely
Ladies first.
transistors. All of the transistors did it.
All of the transistors,
Yeah,
all of the
all
time.
started. It was all aliens.
Started back with the
Diana was an alien.
big
And
farmers
it
in.
started with the pyramids. Yeah. I just want to thank you as well, Saruk,
was
for
Diana.
having us here.
Oh, you're welcome.
All the
thanks
money
for
going
having
into
us
Big
on.
Pharma is coming from aliens donations.
Of course, you can recommend Atomic Callum. Yeah, drop it to like either now or hit me up on Twitter or in
Oh, yeah,
Discord
that's
or whatever. Yep, feel free to recommend a topic. A topic.
Unless Atomic wants to be your topic.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to
DM
say
me. That
thank
is
you for having
perfect,
me.
buddy. No worries at all.
Thank you for
You're welcome.
everyone in
Yeah,
chat,
thanks.
all of the viewers,
for
and
having
we
us as well,
love you
Saruk.
all.
Yeah, guys.
Love you all very, very
Tony.
much.
Thank you very much, guys. You guys have been awesome. Thank you from Toasty, Ellie, McLeod, and me. Have a good night. Catch you later.
Take it easy.
All right.